Hello. Hello, guys. Welcome. All right, let's see. Sorry. Just a bit distracted. However, the show must go on. Okay. So let me do one thing, you guys. Hi and welcome. Don't forget to like the video.
Hello.
Hi, Mr. O. Mr. O is joining me today. We're going to get into this whole topic of conflicts and how to resolve conflicts and where do conflicts come from. Like, how do you even avoid conflict? Can you do that? Is that even possible? We're going to talk about this, because Mr. O was like, what? No. So we got a lot to talk about. Mr. Rucker is joining. If you guys are on here, thank you, Mr. Rucker. How are
Thank you for
you?
having me. Doing pretty well. Happy New Year. Looking
Happy New
nice.
Year.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining. Hold on 1 minute. I'm all thrown off today. I got so much going on. Okay, here I am. All right. Yeah, I got so much going on. But yes, thank you for joining. I went through a lot this week. So I was like, what am I going to talk about? Daryl said prenup.
Exactly. Prenup for life
Mr. Rucker.
every
Hi,
year.
hi, Jims and Jules. Thank you guys so much for joining. Do not forget to like the video, but most importantly, comment after. Your comments after create the conversation, keeps the conversation going. I do appreciate you guys. Please like the video. I wanted to I'll set up today's conversation so I can give context to, where I'm going with this conversation. Um, I don't know if y'all watch Ready to Love. Do y'all watch Ready to Love? Either one of y'all? Have y'all ever
I've
seen it?
seen one season and then I peeked in on the one that they did in Houston.
Oh, good. So you have seen it at least.
I'm
Mr. Rucker,
familiar.
have you seen Ready to Love?
Yeah, I seen that freak show. Yeah.
So, so listen, for everybody who don't know, what I'm doing is, for me, I'm going to use reality TV, certain shows to talk about larger issues, right? To identify larger issues. So, reality TV is the caveat, but there are issues to dive deeper into within those conversations and things that happen on reality TV, right? That are very much relatable and real to our real lives and relationships. And ultimately, I want people to see stuff in real time and have a connection to be like, okay, so how do I deal with this issue a little differently if I ever encountered it, right? And so you guys will be helpful in that, right? Because obviously I'm not the expert, and that's why I have, people who are experts in certain issues to come on, and also I love having the men's perspective on things. But for people who don't know, Ready to Love is a reality TV show. It is with Black singles who are looking to find love, ultimately that leads to a relationship. Now, what happens is the singles, they establish connections and they build on that throughout the episodes. So you see them dating, you see all of them are building connection with multiple people, some of them, but most of them are dating each other. So to me, the show is kind of an assimilation of what it's like in real life to date, right? You date a variety of people. Ultimately, you have to make a decision if you want to move to the next step on who your deepest connection is with. And that's how the show goes. It's like you date all these people, you form connections with all these people, and then ultimately you move into this realm where you make a decision. And to me, like the way it sounds to me, the people who establish connections with multiple people kind of stay in the journey the longest. The people who kind of, if you establish a relationship too early on, it can actually ruin your chances of staying in the journey. So you really need to date around and play the game and do everything that you're supposed to be doing so that you can really find a true connection or bond with somebody, right? Um, so at the end, you decide who you're ready to love, and I think that it brings to light this whole idea that dating is a competition, right? Like, how do you guys feel about that? Is dating a competition?
Absolutely. We
Yes.
all ranked. Like it's a ranking for everybody. Like I'm
Wait a
ranked.
minute, wait a minute. Hi, Playboy. I was
What's
about to call
up?
you
What's
Mr.
up,
Playboy.
Mr. Rucker? Mr.
What's
O?
up,
What's
What's
the
Playboy?
happening?
deal?
Look,
What's
it's too many
happening?
misters on the panel. I was about to say Mr. Playboy. I was like, wait a minute, that's evolutionary Playboy. Let me give you some respect.
Mr. CYP, where you at?
Hi. So actually, Mr. O, Mr. Rucker, Evolutionary Playboy, these are my people. They always come through. And actually, Playboy and Mr. O, they really have a centered approach, when it comes to dealing with conflict. So I just think they will be the best people to kind of give us some advice. But before we get to that, I do want to talk about dating as a competition, because this show is like a whole entire competition, right? Everybody's dating multiple people. Some people are not. Some people are dating just one person. Um, what do you guys think about dating, though? Is it a competition overall?
I definitely think dating. Well, I know I'm not gonna say think because it is a competition. I walk around with an invisible number on top of my head, just like everybody else in this world, whether you want to admit it or not. And the odds are just in our favor. So men kind of have this cockiness about it, but rightfully so. It's just
Yep.
numbers wise, there's so many options, and I think right now what's going on, and we're having all these conversations, right? But they stem from somewhere from like women wanting to know how we think. And for the most part, before you had these outlets, men would just like stop talking to you and talk to the next one and not tell you why he stopped talking to you because it may be
Yep.
some small shallow reason you may not like, but he's gonna have what he wants because there's so many people willing to give you what you want, and
Right.
there's a competition there. This girl I was talking to, Chad introduced me to this one girl he was talking to, and she had a friend, and so while they were talking, I called her and we was on FaceTime while they were on FaceTime, but we was cities apart. And the girl, she's like, I don't have no kids. And she was like in her mid-30s. She's like, I don't have no kids. And I'm a catch. I can have whatever I want. She was just so cocky about it. I say, ma'am, your competition isn't 30 with kids. Your competition is 23 with no kids. That's your competition. And she was triggered at that point. The word competition just offends them. I ain't in competition with nobody. You are, though. You are in competition. Whether you want to admit it or not, the man that you want wants something. And he's going to get what he wants because the numbers are in our favor. But there is a competition, and it's way more prevalent for the women because you have less numbers. The men that you want is just so few of them. So you got to compete for one. You
Yep.
have to if you want one. If you want one, you got to compete
Okay.
for one.
Okay. Let somebody else respond before I, respond to that. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Rucker.
Well, yes, this definitely is competition, especially men that have their stuff together. Men actually even know their competition as far as other men. They know that the other men have multiple kids. They know that these multiple men, they have like $40,000 jobs or no jobs at all. So the men that actually have it going on have their own place. They're very independent, got money. They don't need really to be told what to do. They're going to become cocky, and they should because they earned that right. You really see that in the 30s, 40s, or later that they can pick and choose whatever that they want. So if a woman has a problem, attitude, anything he doesn't like, he doesn't even have to say, I got multiple women. Because you just look at him, it's like how he carries himself. Oh, he has multiple women. And every time that woman says something that he doesn't like, pretty much she should be thinking like this. And he moves on with or without you knowing. So if he moves on, it's like he's going to be picked up by one, two, three, four women, whatever how many women he can handle. But men that have it going on, they got plenty of women, so there is competition. But the
So
bums out
so
there,
you're looking at it, y'all looking at it only from the man has the control, in this dating pool, in this whole
Yes.
situation. Y'all not looking at it from
I carefully said it better than what you said because you're being disingenuous when you say it like that. Like the numbers, it's just based on
Uh,
numbers.
hi,
Men,
hi, Hef. Hi,
yeah,
Hef. I'll say hi to
going
Hef.
on.
Let me
Hello,
acknowledge Hef.
what's up,
Thank
Hef?
you. Thank you for
what's up
coming.
with it?
Yes. What's up? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. O. You was
Yeah,
calling me out for being
well, yeah, because
disingenuous.
we gotta respect the numbers. And with that regard, there is a low level of competition there, and men are a little cocky about it because you just outnumber us by so many. It's
But
like
see, this is what I think a lot of people miss when because they always be like, it's more women than men. But do we consider like who's heterosexual, right? Who's actually available women who want to date men? Because I don't think we think about that. I think we always look at the ratio and be like, yeah, this is it. Like,
If
do
you
we?
bring up sexuality, it's way less men for women.
Yep.
that, that, that,
Yeah,
that, that,
yeah.
that worsens your odds.
That's worse
Black
than the
men that
odds
have jobs. Yeah.
on both sides though, because there's a growing population in both genders.
But if you
it's
want a
so
black
far
straight
though. It's
Yes.
man,
like it's the number is like I think Kevin Samuels put out a number. I think it's like
Are we quoting Kevin?
no, I'm saying he put out a
No,
number
he
of
is
how
not.
many women it is. He knew the
oh, she
actual
triggered.
ratio. It's like 2 million extra women.
Okay.
It's like a
Something
big
like that.
number. It's a
I heard
huge
All right.
something.
number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me hear
Like
Evolutionary Playboy.
huge.
So, is dating a competition? Tell me what.
It's definitely a competition. Anything where you want to be chose is a competition. Simple as that. And the thing about it is that women, they don't want to accept. It's not even about them admitting it's
Yeah.
competition. They don't want to accept that reality because they don't want to get off their ass and do what's necessary
Mm.
to be the one that benefits from
Hmm.
that man they really want. You know what I mean? Men, we're just more okay with it. We know what it is. We know it's a certain caliber of woman we may like, but we may not qualify for. Men are just more okay with that. So we're
Mm.
gonna go get the ones we qualify for. We're gonna sharpen our skills to make sure we can keep those ones that we qualify for. Or on a lot of instances, the women, they want to shoot for the stars, but when they look in the mirror, that shit don't even match. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm just being honest. Like, I
True.
mean, let's keep it real. It's so
Okay.
many successful women that we can all name that have no man. How do you explain that? How are you on paper perfect, but in real life you have nobody? That
Like,
doesn't make
like
sense to
who?
me.
Give me an example of who's this woman you thinking of? Just one
I
example.
Claudia
mean,
Jordan, Vivica Fox. We could do this all day.
Oh,
I
Okay.
mean,
yeah.
yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Beautiful
Entire
women,
Holly
podcast.
Berry
successful.
does have a man though, y'all. She
Well,
does.
she on and off so much
Really?
I
That
can't
kind of
keep up.
man?
She got
How long you
options.
been with this one?
Have
Good
she
It's
got
options.
options? She got
no,
Good
options.
listen.
options.
It's not
Good.
it's not an option when it's an option for sex.
Okay. Okay.
These beautiful women can get men to have sex with them, but to get to marry them, that's a different story. That's not option.
Like
You know what I
scraps.
mean?
All right, well, Hef, let me hear what you gotta say. Is dating a competition?
It's a very high stakes game. You're you're in a world where you can get up, think you're in a happy home, and go to work your behind off, and come home, and all your girl stuff will be gone because you didn't compete. You didn't wake up on your A game, and same thing for women. There are a lot of girls out here who lost their man to their cousin, their sister, their mama, their auntie. Somebody was performing better than them, and they didn't see it as a competition, and they felt like, I got him now, and now I can get comfortable. Now I can go to sleep with the bonnet on. Now I can start getting more takeout. um I ain't got to go to the gym as often, and now they're in the back of the line
So
wondering
you
what's
telling
going
me
on.
that a bonnet is gonna change the game for some women? Is that
I,
what
I'm
y'all trying to
I'm
say?
just
Yes.
saying that there are certain
Mr.
things that are deal breakers,
Uh,
and you want to be aware of the deal breakers for your significant other, male and female.
Okay, but do y'all date black women?
Yes.
I
Yes.
love black
I
women.
love my black
Okay,
woman.
Just
because
can't
Black
find one
good
that want to
because
deal
women.
with me.
because black women have to do protective styles, and therefore we have to wear
I
hair.
just use the bonnet because it's a trigger word, but I'm okay with
That's
the
Trigger.
what a
bonnet.
I mean,
silk scarf is for.
we're not wearing bonnets outside, but I'm wearing
Yes.
bonnets
Yes,
in
you
Some
my
are.
will.
house.
Yeah,
But
I'm
there's
with you.
another.
Some will.
There's always been this issue with the hair. We've always had this. I've kept silk pillowcases my entire life because I've known my entire
Right.
adult life because I know about the hair thing. There's always been a solution for it. This new bonnet thing is just a wave that's going rampant. Women used to wrap their hair in these cloths all the time. You can very much find a stylish wrap to wrap your hair up properly with some silk
Hmm.
and some cotton. But you don't have to wear that bonnet. It's just convenient. It's there.
So
It looks
for
it's
men,
a shower cap. It's a,
okay, so for men, y'all want women to always be visually attracted,
it
attractive
looks
to you.
exactly like a shower cap. Come on, it does.
It makes you look poor. Like, what's wrong with
Shower
you?
cap.
I think
Y'all really hating on the bonnet. Like the
the
bonnet is seriously, but
what makes
Very
it a
if I'm
deal
thick though, I'm
breaker.
still thick even in my bonnet. Y'all can still see everything you need to see. What is my
Yeah.
bonnet gonna distract you from?
Still gonna get
Seriously.
some sexual attention. See, like
right.
things men don't like. I'm pretty sure the first woman to
Uh-huh.
put a weave in her head and go to her husband, I guarantee you, he told her he didn't like it. Men just started
I
to
tell
say
my
that
girl
we
every time
okay
she
with
come in the
things
door
because
with it.
we want to
I don't
have
like it.
sex. So we're gonna say, well, you know that I'll
Well, wear your
pass on
natural
that.
hair.
I'll
So,
pass on
so
this.
you're saying that no man like this is weave considered weave.
The
So you saying
consensus from
That
most
don't
guys
count.
is a
Well,
lot of
Yeah, that
braids
doesn't
don't
weave?
count.
count.
That
Braids
doesn't
don't
That
count.
count.
doesn't count.
they don't count. I'm talking about the gaudy stuff. You
This
know,
is
like
weave.
the
I
gaudy, the
I
colors,
figure
the tall, the long, the
Y'all remember
hair
the Bam
blonde, like
Bam when they used
all
to
the
wear the Bam
weird.
Bam
Bam
back in
bam.
the day?
Ugh.
Yeah,
but if a woman knows how to do it tastefully, I really don't think that it matters. I think that men don't like when it's over the top, when it's too big, when
right.
it doesn't look natural. See, when y'all say y'all don't like weave, it's because y'all talking about when you can see the tracks and you know it's not done
And
well.
that little lacy thing
It
they
look
doing
good.
now.
It
They,
don't
they
look
look like
good.
they got some mesh on their head.
But it's
Yeah.
women who we know how to do it where y'all won't, it's not even, it looks so natural. Men won't even question it. So you
But
can't
if it looks
tell
so
me
natural, why don't you just stay natural? If you're that good at
because
making something
women
look
like because
natural, just
black
keep
women
it
have to
natural.
do protective styles. Okay. Our hair
I
doesn't
feel like y'all
tolerate
abusing this protective word.
it. No, our hair doesn't
It's
Man,
starting
our
to cover
feel
too much
protected.
ground.
hair doesn't tolerate heat the way other people's hair does. Our hair cannot be constantly blow
Neither,
dried and
but neither
washed
does
and
men.
everything.
What about men that have waves? It's a
Men don't
process
have
too.
hair. Hair is not a measure of beauty for men. Well,
Waves is.
Well,
What are you
yeah.
talking
sometimes,
about?
okay,
Women
Waves.
sometimes
won't
it
date
is.
a bald man for nothing.
All right, so here's the thing. I'm gonna move on to the next point because y'all didn't blew me with that. But this is what I will say: that dating is definitely a competition for both, though, because there are men who, if you want a certain type of woman, a certain caliber of women, there's only a limited amount of men that we will even date or that will even have access to us. So the fact that that even exists, it does kind of create this whole thing where it's like the women that you may desire and want may not necessarily want you. Yeah, you can probably have access to a ton of women, but will you have access to the women you choose or you want? That's the difference. A lot of men end up having 5 and 6 women, but it's like that's your options. Oh, okay, that's
I
cool.
can agree with that because like I'm not currently with any black women in my life because that they just don't pick me. They don't. I haven't been able to find one, so there is a competition
I gotta
within
delve into that,
that
Mr.
regard.
O, because I really don't understand why black women don't want to choose you. But we're gonna
I don't
talk
know.
about that.
They
Like that's
don't. They tend
crazy to
not to
me.
like me.
Okay, so
I
we
strike out all the time. I try.
really
Today I tried to make a lunch date with one, and she gave me, I ain't coming to you. You come to me, and I'm like, wow.
wait. So
Man.
when is the last
I said,
time?
I'll send you a car and we'll meet at my favorite restaurant. I want to go to steak. I mean, I'm like, it
When
turned
is
me
the last
off.
time you dated a black woman?
I try every day.
No, but when's the last time you actually dated a black woman? Look at Hef thinking. Hef's like, I'm gonna help you out.
Oh,
I try a
I'm trying
lot,
to
and
think
I
for
do have
myself.
sex with them.
If
But
one of y'all got y'all YouTubes up, turn it down because I can hear like an echo. Just make sure that your phone is turned down or something.
I do have sex. somewhere occasionally with them, but relationship wise, commitments, and it just never gets there.
Mm.
I
Okay.
lose. My competition is the guys who like to wear the uniforms that most black guys wear. You know,
What?
the
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 ones that
trendy
look like
stuff.
little baby.
Yeah, yeah, like Bape and ripped jeans and stuff. All this and the
Oh.
gold, the diamonds in the mouth.
Yeah,
Also,
It's
you
my
don't date.
I'm not
competition.
hip enough. I'm not
Also,
It's
you
my
cool
don't
enough.
date. You
competition.
don't. Y'all don't date grown women because grown women we like men that dress up and stuff
I
like
can't
that. Y'all
find
don't date
those.
grown women.
I
Okay, that's
would.
what. So y'all like the young girls that don't really appreciate it. That's what you're saying.
I
I
just go
mean, I like
outside and I
them
see what
short,
I
That's
see.
what
thin,
it
skinny,
sounds
thick, and
like. That's
tall.
what I'm calling. I'm starting to see some trends here. Okay, here we go.
I definitely
So,
not doing anything over 28 though. I think that's my number.
right. So that's why you
My
28. There you
number
go. You just
45.
stopped your progress.
You have a
So
point.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Ready to Love, right? So we're talking about that reality TV show and how that whole thing is a competition. Now, it always gets to a point in the competition where like they do this family thing where they introduce their potential dates or potential, prospects to their families. So I'm gonna talk about one of those instances and ask a question just to kind of see how y'all feel about it.
Okay.
So Phil, one of the guys in
We got a little bit of an echo.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
somebody needs to turn their phone down. I think it's you, Mr. O, because you're the only one that's not muted. Or Evolutionary Playboy.
Yeah,
You
got
got
it.
No, I
your
don't have. I'm on my cell phone, so
okay, so that must be Mr. O. Mr.
Maybe
O,
I don't know what.
mute right quick and then okay, yeah, it was you, Mr. O. Kind of see what's going on. It's something that's causing an echo. Um, Phil visited with Sydney's family, and overall, they liked Phil. Everything was good. However, the mother asked him during that session, she was like, "Do you have a savings?" Basically, like, my daughter need money. My daughter need money to get taken care of.
Prenup.
And do you have a savings? Like, she basically just bust that question out. And this is the mama asking him. Like, this is the first time he's meeting her. Okay.
I was so offended by that episode.
So is it wrong to ask about finances? And like, what's y'all opinion about that? Like, how would you feel if you go in and you dating a girl and her mama or her family is like, what's your savings, what's your credit score, etc.?
Hell yeah, that's offensive. Why would a family member question me? She just needs to know my job, is it legal, and where do I work? She can Google it and find out. But for a family member to go straight into the finances is suspicious. I'm thinking like, okay, your family must be poor, so you want me to not take care of her. You want me to take care of you and other family members. Like, y'all poor if you asking me questions like that. You just need to know if I'm employed and it's legal. Because as soon as some family member says how much money you make, you have a savings, I'm like Kanye West, man.
So you think that it's an indication that there's some financial trouble going on in the family history if her family's automatically asking you about your money.
Hell yeah, it is a red flag. I will run away.
Mm-hmm.
Why is somebody asking me for money and I just met her? It's like I'm looking at your family and now I'm looking at you, looking at the cars, the house, and everything. Like, okay, I think they're poor. Okay, they want me to marry her right away. And I'm just straight up with the prenup or I'm out. Like, no one should be asking for money like that specific, like savings. You just need to know if that man works and is it legal. That's it.
So you think there is some more eloquent way to ask those things, like basically saying, "Hey, what's your employment like? How long you been there?" Things like that, because that can give you an indication about a man's finances or at least his stability without being so direct. Like, what's your savings like? How much in there?
Right. Just like look at how I dress, look at my car, look at where I stay. You need to know my title and where I work, and you can just do a quick Google search and you get a range. That's all you need to know. Unless I got like a gambling issue or I keep sniffing my nose and I got some sort of drug issue, you don't need to know about finances that bluntly like that, because that's just a red flag that you're poor. Like, don't be asking about man's money like that.
So, Playboy, what you think? Is that rude to be like, "What's your savings?" And what do you think about
yeah, I think it's rude, and I also think that if you even asking that question and your daughter's credit is not good, if your daughter doesn't have her credit, her savings in order, why are you worried about mine? And I might be a little different. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't respect somebody that's doing worse than me when they're trying to give me advice. So I kind of pay attention to how, like Mr. Rucker said, how people are living. And it's like, you're not going to question me about what I'm doing when you got cars in the driveway that don't even work. You know what I mean? So me, I'm
Right,
not, if I'm a grown man, I don't need approval from your
right.
dad. I'm just keeping it real. If I'm grown, I don't need approval from your dad. Simple as that. So
Yeah, you're
Hello.
right.
if she doesn't like how I'm living, then we can go find other partners.
Facts.
Better.
Okay. What about you? Have you think that's rude to ask about finances? Like, what do
Uh,
you think?
you definitely deserve the right as the person I'm dating. Family, stay out of our business. Yeah, I ain't got no dealings with you. I'm not trying to date you. So, you gonna have to mind your own. But as the person that I'm pursuing, you have a right to know if you're getting in a good situation or not. Specific details may can become a gray area. Probably I would say be clever at how you want to go about learning if I'm financially stable and secure.
Yes.
Um, the vetting stage is very important for the man and the woman. If I'm well off and I'm going to partner with you and consider you being the person that I have kids with and I gotta leave my empire to and stuff like that. I want to know that you're at least a good partner if you aren't already secure yourself. People will be in different stages at life, and you could be meeting that person that will help you get to the next level and don't mind helping you get to the next level. So it can't always be all about that because a lot of people miss out on their blessing trying to find that perfect person out the bat. Some people are still getting there, some people are still working on it, and y'all could be absolutely compatible and you're missing out on something great just because of these societal norms that you feel are going to make or break the relationship.
Yeah.
So be clever in how you go about it.
Right. Right. I think delivery is key. Right. And like you said, being clever because it is important to know someone's finances that you're dating or that you're seriously dating. I would say, because that is potential partner that you could, potentially have a long term relationship with, and their finances can affect you.
Do you really need to know?
Yes, you do.
I
Why?
mean, what about all the women who got with a rich guy? Maybe they were doing okay themselves, but they come to find out. I think Mr. Rucker brought it up. He had a gambling problem, or he was bad
Right.
with money,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
just invested poorly. And someone who was secure already thought that they had a great provider and they became a homemaker, and now she look up they losing their house and she'd been out of the workforce for 10, 15 years.
Right.
Things can go crazy, so you want to know who you're dealing with, you want to know who you're getting involved with. That's important,
I
and
mean,
transparency.
yeah,
Do I still have echo?
Yes.
a little bit, yeah, a little bit, yeah. I don't know what it is. It seems like it's on
You set
somewhere.
up trash.
It seems like it's on somewhere. He don't know. It's like turn the volume down or something. I don't know.
Maybe it's the volume. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
volume.
sound better.
If you turn the volume down, we can't hear the echo. Yeah. Oh, it sounds like it's gone away. What? Did you fix it? I think so. Yeah, I do think that it's a valid question, and it is more valid than just being like, "Oh, what's your profession?" Because he may be like, "I'm a lawyer," but he may be millions of dollars in debt, or he may be a doctor, but he ain't really like he got like malpractice suits and he ain't really making no money. So you really just don't
Uh,
want to. I don't feel like you should just be asking people what their profession is, Mr. Rucker. I think you need to be like, what's your credit
nah.
score, damn near. But I'm just saying
Okay.
though, if like
Okay.
I'm saying though, does that need to happen in the dating portion of the like? I feel like at what point is it okay to be like, okay, like I need a real conversation about what your finances are like.
See,
Well,
I get why the concern would be for someone outside of that woman to ask, because during the vetting process, there was always someone without the butterflies exist that would vet the man for that woman. But it's done respectfully and in the right way. Typically, men talk about those things, and then dad says, "Okay, I know he could take care of you. He got what it take." And
Mhm, mhm.
women don't really know what dad did to do that. So I guess women are making their own choices now, and they just getting straight to it. I think it's coming off abrasive or rude or disrespectful. But I do understand getting someone else involved to help you vet, so they can look past the things that you're not really looking at when you're involved with a new man, like the butterflies and things. So I just don't think it should be mom. I think it should be probably dad talking to that
Why
man.
why can't the
And,
mom
and,
do? But the dad was there. The dad was there,
mom better
but
stay out
the
my
mom
bank
was.
account. Mom better stay out of my bank account or I'm gonna expect her to be in my bed.
Facts.
Yeah.
Now,
Or
like
stay
Yeah.
out of
women
my bank
knowing,
account, mom, or come get in the
I,
But
bed.
the
I,
mom.
I have
So
to
you mean to
I
tell me
second that.
somebody mama can't ask you no questions unless y'all
not
are in
about
a
finances,
relationship?
not about
Me and her,
finances.
me and her dad can have a conversation as men about securing this. Because it's the same thing we used to go ask for the father's
Blessing.
ask however you used to do it. You used to ask the dad to marry the daughter, right?
Right.
And then he
Right.
would say, "Okay, show me what you got," and he say, "Yeah, or nay," and that's how it would
You
go.
know,
And then,
a lot of
right.
people was kind of wondering like why her dad was so silent during that process, or maybe you know how the TVs they don't really show everything. Maybe he did say something we just didn't see it. But
Beta bear.
Data.
the mom was more vocal. And but is that more beta? Or is that beta? Or maybe sometimes the
Yeah.
men sometimes
Yeah.
men are more introverted than women.
No, I
Sometimes
can
men
see
Not
are
that.
more
not
introverted.
when it not if it's a conversation involving another man. His wife has no business having that conversation.
Well, I believe she did because she was invited and she has a place and women can ask questions. Okay. I don't know what makes you
No,
think that
Nah,
women
that's
not
not
cannot
his
about
ask.
one. That's not
finances.
his woman
And you
though.
know, I don't give a damn. Like
See?
if my daughter
No,
if
no.
my daughter brings some man in here, I'm gonna ask him questions. You are not okay. Well, then you stay with your daughter. I don't know what to tell you then.
So if a
Look,
guy's 30 years old and your daughter's 30 years old, you're gonna ask a 30-year-old man just like that. You're gonna ask all his financial business. A
well,
grown man.
I wouldn't ask a question like that. But I don't even think that my husband would do
Mhm.
that. Like I think that's kind of like
Yeah,
invasive. I think it's an invasive question. But
yeah,
I will
it
ask some
is.
questions. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
About the finances?
No, but I mean, I'll ask some
Okay.
questions that will
Yeah.
make me know if you make bad financial decisions or not. Yeah.
That's
No,
fine. That's
like
fine. Nothing
what?
wrong
Like
with
what's your
that.
credit score or something?
No, that's direct. I feel like
Yeah,
that's too
okay.
direct.
All right.
You
Because they'll
know,
be like,
do
what's your
you
credit score?
do you own any homes? Have you ever went through a process of
You
owning
don't
homes?
do it
Because
that
see,
way. You
I would
sit
like,
down and you talk about financial IQ through conversation. It's a
yeah,
way to do it.
that's
You
right.
know,
It's good to be. I would definitely ask some questions that may lead into
I'd
me.
speak about an investment that I made recently and see how the person responded.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that is
Yeah.
a
I
good
tell
way.
you this.
But don't tell me as a mother I don't have a right to ask you questions because I'm a woman. That is ridiculous. And I don't know what you men are standing on here, but y'all need to learn that women also have a voice and it is our children. We care about them. We're protective of them as well. So we want to know certain questions. Now, do I agree with the way she delivered the response? No, I don't
Okay.
necessarily agree with that because I don't know if I would be like, what's your savings like? But that's kind of like she went straight for it. We were all like, wow.
Yeah, she
So
was
there's no
poor.
such thing as a place, stay in your place. That's not a thing. Stay in your
I mean, I think
place.
in your home, it depends.
There's a
If that is how you treat women in your home, then by all means, yeah. I think that
I'm gonna
question.
tell
Yeah.
you this. I can imagine majority of the men on this panel
Yeah,
are still in the working class to middle, maybe upper middle class.
right.
If a millionaire walks in your home and you start asking this man about his finances, you just lost your
Right.
daughter or husband. I'm gonna tell you that. I can guarantee this is our last date. I'm smashing tonight and dashing tomorrow,
Well,
and I'm doing it in your guest bedroom.
well,
Damn.
Disrespectful.
here's the thing though. That's her mom who met. I mean, and she did correct her mom. Don't get me wrong, because she was like, "Ma, you don't do that, mom." Like she immediately correct her mom And I mean, even in the guy still was like, yeah, I gotta say this. Like he answered the question, you know.
This
But
is on
I
the
just
new one, the recent
that's
series.
yeah. I'm sorry
What
if
are we
I'm.
talking about?
Oh,
Love and hip
oh, oh!
hop or
I need to
something?
give a disclaimer. I'm sorry. There is some spoilers for the last week's episode. If you have not watched it, I am talking about last week's episode of Ready to Love, and so therefore, if you haven't watched it, hopefully I haven't spoiled it for you because I
I'm
watch
finna go
it.
watch this now. I
Listen,
can't wait
I
to see
watch it
this.
as soon as it come on. I watch it. Y'all know how Mr. O. You already know how I am about reality TV.
Yeah,
I
that's the new
scale
soap opera.
back. Listen, I scale back a lot. I used to watch everything. I watched everything from Thousand Pound Sisters to Dr.
Well,
Pimple Popper, from Strange Addictions to whatever. I watch everything, okay? I don't have a specific type. I will watch a lot of shows, and then some stuff I gravitate towards, some stuff I don't. Like, I can't do the love and hip hop. It's just too much. But I ain't even like Cardi B when she was on it. But everybody like her. I'm like, I don't like it. So it's just, some stuff, but I watch a lot of different things. I want to talk about this next topic, but are y'all done with that? Like the
Before
financial.
you go on,
Yeah. Yeah.
I like Spirit Tech's comment. That's Unc. He said, my ex-wife even told my oldest daughter's now husband, "Don't talk to me. You need to talk to her father." So, like, I feel like that is in pocket and something that's viable.
I
You
see.
you
I
you
see.
wanna go about these things in the right way. So I like that comment.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that it for me, like my husband had those tough conversations with my family because I'm not really good at it. But he never be like, stay in your place. I guess it's the wording. See, Mr. O kind of, it's the wording. I think he don't be like, you need to stay at your place. So he just does his thing. That's what he does, right? So
I usually say something worse than that. Check your beat.
I
Check
know,
your check your
and I'm surprised that
He at the dinner table. Check you.
but I'm surprised at you, Mr. O, because you're good about language and you know how language affects the outcome. And so if you talk to somebody like
You
that,
talking about his internet personality?
Nah, but see, language changes when you feel disrespected, though. That's the
For sure.
thing.
yep.
yeah, but on both ends. On both ends.
But it won't matter. Like
A
if he
woman
feel
is gonna
disrespected, he
disrespect
gonna
you.
be like, hell with you and your family. So
Yeah.
whatever they say next don't even matter. We gonna be walking out.
Yeah. I mean, so that's gonna bring me to my overall point of this conflict resolution. But we gonna talk about that later. Let me move on to this next point because I really want to talk about this because Dante and Aisha were the next couple, and Aisha is the one who introduced Dante to her family, her mother and her brother. Dante got 3 children and 3 baby mamas. I just want to put that out there, y'all.
Is
Okay.
this like a sign? Is this a bad thing? This
Okay.
okay? That's a no-no.
I'm gonna let y'all make the decision. But he has 3 children and 3 baby mamas. Like Aisha does have 2 children by the same man. And they have decided later in the journey, like, oh, we like each other, right? Like he was vetting a whole nother chick that I'm gonna talk about. And I don't mean any disrespect when I say chick or chick guy, because I know a lot of people don't like when I say that. He was vetting a whole nother woman earlier into the process, and now he's like kind of stuck on Aisha. So Aisha introduced him to her family, and the mother was instantly like, okay, you have 3 children and 3 children mother. Actually, the son asked. So the man asked. He was like, how is your relationship with your children's mother? Like, how is the relationship with them? And so his answer was kind of like, well, 2 of them are married. Okay, but that don't answer the question. I mean, I don't understand. To me, that didn't answer the question. Okay, but y'all give me y'all perspective on this. So how to me, or I'll say this: how important is it to cut ties with exes if you're looking to be in a new relationship, especially if it's the children's mother or father? How important is it? But also, can y'all talk about that? Like,
Are you monogamous?
This is monogamous. Let's assume that this is
Man, it's
monogamous.
terrible. You gotta cut them off. Like
Yeah.
if you're monogamous, you can't talk. You're only one at a time.
So, but
Can't
okay,
keep
he has
options
3
open.
children, 3 children's mother. He said he has seemingly good relationships with them. 2 of the children's mothers are married, and so he's basically like in this process with all this stuff that a woman will have to take on.
It's weird.
Mhm.
It's
Okay,
weird.
I mean, it's a difference between having two children with one child's father versus having to deal with three different women. I'm sorry, it is a
Yeah.
total difference. I don't care if she got two kids, but he don't have to deal with multiple men in her life. So, how do you guys feel about men and women who date, like the relationship between their child's mother and father? How do you feel like that affects your relationship when you're dating?
It can affect it. I know, like, I got kids with one woman, and I have two kids with her. But when I left that situation, I was gone. Now she got into a new one, and early on, she married this other young guy, right? And I just made a statement at the beginning of the relationship, just to make him aware of the low level threat if my kids ever get if they're ever hurt. And then I stayed out. I never involved myself in nothing. None of that. It's none of my business. I gotta trust her that she love my kids just as much as I do, and
Right.
she ain't gonna put them in no harm's way. And it's not my business how they structured their life. And so I don't. I shouldn't have an input, and I never did. I don't think that anyone should, because what happened between us don't have nothing to do with what y'all finna do.
Right,
Otherwise, you're really emasculating the dude that you're with by allowing another man to come in and say anything about how you
Right.
run his house.
right.
It's
And
crazy.
you don't, you haven't had any problems as far as like someone trying to intervene in your relationship with your children or anything like that. It's been copacetic as far as
Well,
yours.
when my ex gets emotional at times, and she does make her comments, I can't stop that. But I understand where it comes from. Not that she doesn't make any rules; she can say what she wants to say, but it doesn't have any weight. You know.
I understand. Okay, what you guys feel about that? Like having a children's mother and a father, like how that relationships affect the dating relationship.
I think if the relationship between the two are done, it should stay that way and just be about the children. If it's two mature adults, a lot of times it's not two mature adults. It might be one or it might be two immature adults. And they use that child as leverage to keep, somebody the other in the loop. But I think, like Mr. O said, if they're in a different relationship, as long as the kid is good, I'm not caring what you're doing. I'm not thinking about you because that relationship is that relationship. Now we may have produced a child in that, from that relationship, but what you do has nothing to do with me. So people that want to play with this in and out, I mean, that's the problem. And I wouldn't tell anybody or advise anyone to get in a relationship like that.
Yeah.
All that back and forth, that's too much drama.
See, his little comment was a little red flag for me. I'm like, you still
Yeah.
sleeping with your baby mamas? Because I didn't understand why he even said like, well, they married. Because yes, that's fine. I understand you trying to establish that the boundary, like, hey, they not. There's no intimate relationship. But really, the question was, what is the relationship like? And I would be like, man, we co-parent well. We have a good situation. I see my kids X, Y, Z. But he focused on the fact that they were married. I was like, Dante, what you got going on
Right.
over there? That was my impression initially. Um, but Mr. Rucker, did you talk already? What do you think?
No, I was gonna say this. His answer, I guess the order of it was wrong. He should have said that like last. He should have said like what you said. We co-parent. There's nothing between my baby moms. I see my kids X, Y, and Z in those days. There's no drama or anything. And on top of that, they're married, so there's nothing there. He should have ended it with that. But just to say that one thing and that's that, that was a red flag. It's like,
Right.
man, there's something going on with that. Like, why is that your first and only answer? Like, this is he just messed up on that. So when you're dating people who have children, it is very important to know what is your relationship with your baby moms or your baby dads. Like, what you want to hear is they moved on. There's no intimate relationship with them. We just co-parent. You want to keep that segregated. If it's not, if you're leading with some vague terms and stuff, it's like, man, you should just cut your losses now because the answer is just bad. No.
Absolutely. And this brings me to I'm going to really talk to single women and tell them give them advice on how they should date, right? Because I was a single mother, not single women, but single mothers. I was a single mother in the dating world at one point, and I learned some very valuable key things that helped me be successful in dating. And I don't think a lot of women have those skills but y'all need to talk to these men. Okay. First of all, is it a red flag for a person who have multiple mothers, children's mothers, or children fathers? Like, do you guys see that as a red flag? Even for this man, he has three children mothers. What do you guys
Yeah,
think
I
about
mean, men have always sold their oats, all over the community. Like this is a common thing. You have guys with multiple, but it's different when those kids is there every day with that woman and it came out of that same womb. Like it's just a different. It's not the same. It's not. I know you want it to be equal, but it isn't the same scenario.
Yeah.
It's
No, it's
totally
not.
different.
It's not the same. I just wonder how that, to me, a man with all those different mothers that he's having, and he's not with any of them, even if it was a poly relationship. I know you support that. He's not with them at all. There's no success in any of those relationships. That to me shows a red flag of a man who is kind of careless in the fact that
Well,
he's having children with multiple women and he's not really establishing relationships or partnerships, or he doesn't even have long-term commitments, and two of the women are married to some other person.
Yeah,
but Nick
but if
I mean,
he's
Cannon
a
that could have
just
been a
did
well-established
phase
this.
in his
man,
life.
yeah,
Nick Cannon just did the same thing. He made a bunch of babies with a bunch of
Oh no,
different
we're not
women.
gonna talk about no Nick Cannon now. That he is
it
a
depends.
Nick Cannon.
It depends. Like if that man is well established, then yeah, he may have multiple baby moms. But if he's well established, it's like okay, he can probably financially handle it, and he can probably mentally handle it too. So it's like, what's another one? So if that man is more poor but has three kids and stuff, yeah, it's a big red flag. You should probably leave. But if that man is like a Nick Cannon, it's like, well, or a Future, it's like, well, roll the dice. I mean, it can't be that bad. You probably get a check. So worst case scenario.
So I mean, but women who have Nick Cannon is open about his, I guess the future of the relationships. He's not interested in any type of monogamous relationship, and he's very clear about that with most of the women, right? So they know exactly what his objective is, what he wants. He wants to procreate. He wants to have children with different women, and he wants to kind of be a village or a community. And
Yeah.
so if you go into it knowing that that's what it is, that's different. But if you see a man who is like insisting on, okay, I want to be in a monogamous relationship with you, but then you see he has a history of multiple women with multiple children, then how can you take that seriously? That's all I'm saying.
I
Because I
say
think I
just
feel
I
like
like
y'all
what
minimize it.
Uh,
look what Unc just said. He said he sent his mother of his kids a Mother's Day card, and
Right.
the woman he was with didn't like it, and the relationship ended as soon as he finished her sentence.
Yeah. So yeah, because he's just trying.
Shout out to Spirit Tech.
He's
Yeah,
trying to have a
it's-
good relationship with his child's mother, and the woman he's with is upset because he's trying to keep that relationship copacetic.
yeah.
I mean, where is the boundaries, and how do you determine that?
yeah,
Everybody, I don't know if everybody knows, but two of my two children are with my ex-husband, and so obviously I have a very similar situation where I have to co-parent with my ex-husband, and I have a new husband, and so it's like, okay, where's the boundaries, and how do we but my husband established those boundaries with him. I already cut ties with him as far as romantic, so all I have is a co-parenting relationship. Everything else was established by him. I didn't have to intervene. It was like, dude, this is the bound, don't come in here, don't do this, and like I just went with that. And so, but for our home, like my ex-husband, he's welcome to come in here and like see my kids or whatever. Like most of obviously my husband's home, when he does, but he's welcome to come here and have a relationship. But I don't know if I could deal with a man who wasn't comfortable with my children's father being around the kids and stuff. And if he
I
was like
think
that
I just
insecure about
didn't.
it.
There's just something recently that got some attention where a man bought the ex-husband bought the new husband a gift for Christmas. I just saw that somewhere.
I saw that
I
TikTok
saw that
video.
too.
I saw that
Yeah.
TikTok video. What did y'all think about that though? 'Cause that's
Yeah,
what.
I
I like
loved
it.
my ex-wife's husband. He got
Okay.
her out of my way. For now he
Man.
he was keeping her occupied. You know, I didn't have to deal with as
Do you
much.
love him, or are you saying it
I, I,
sarcastically?
I
Like,
don't love him
A
like
little
that,
bit of
but like
both.
I love the fact that he dealing with it now because I ain't got I was good. When he came into the picture, she was nicer. You know, she was happy and it
okay.
wasn't the back and forth exchanges so much. And then when now that they splitting up ways, it's back to it. It's like she back at me with the
Um,
text, you know, like ugh. Like, man. It's like I don't know why. Like she's had a whole another guy in between, but she still I guess because we got the kids. But he
Yeah.
occupied a lot of that evil time for me.
I mean, I don't know about buying gifts, but I do understand, that appreciation that man showed. Like, hey, thank you, because it is a lot of stepfathers who are very removed from the children in the home and don't necessarily treat the children like their own children or have a relationship. And so I think that man was just kind of saying, like, I appreciate you for, being good to my children and accepting them as your own. And Mr. Rucker is like, no, he a simp. Really, really, Mr. Rucker, he's a
Well,
simp.
most of the time, yes, and there's always a message in a gift too. Like if a man is giving you a gift, it's almost like, oh, here's a gift that you need because I saw that you messing up. Let me show you how it's supposed to be done. Let me do this for my kids because you don't know what you're doing. And if a
Mm.
smart man will pick up on that, it's like, why are you accepting this gift? You saying thank you, giving them hugs and stuff like I can't provide. There's a little messages with that, so it all depends on gifts. I pay attention to the gifts. It's like, and I'm just sitting back, just laughing, like, "Wow, that's something you needed. You're not going to turn that down, especially if it's money." It's like, yeah, we need that, but your pride was saying you should take it, so that pressure's on them.
AJ
I've
said
done that to a lot of exes, like here, and I just give them a hug, looking at that man, like, "Here you go, thank you." Well, yeah,
I see you not
call me
taking care of
anytime.
my family the way I used to. Here goes some extra money.
Yeah, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. You're not doing it right.
AJ
Call me
said
if you need anything.
AJ said he brought that man a cool grade 11. No way I'm buying J's for her new husband. That's a violation.
Facts. Yeah, you need some
I have a
shoes.
cousin, man. I won't say his name, but he was just doing bad, and the girl
But
he was
Spirit
with, man,
said he have a good relationship though. He says that his ex-wife's husband is
he's
his
a dude.
is cool.
His
Yeah,
dude,
that's his
yeah,
dude. That's his dude.
taking a load off of me.
I think it's
But
good. Go ahead, Mr. O.
the,
Since you have a
okay, she cut me off. I don't
I'm
know
sorry.
when to go.
I'm sorry.
Be
It's
confused.
a delay. It's a delay on me. I'm sorry because I didn't hear you until you had already started talking. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's a delay.
It's probably
Like
my
I think
setup. It's trash.
it's my internet. I
But
think.
my cousin, he was doing bad, and his girl, the girl he was with, her son had to go to the doctor, and he didn't have a car. He had the father of the son, had to come over and bring one of his extra cars and drop it off to him to take his son and his girl to the doctor. It was so
Jesus.
humiliated, but he
Yeah.
had to take it, and
Yep.
he let me let you borrow one of my cars since you ain't got one. That was a that relationship ended. You know
Sunned
that
him real
relationship. So
quick.
Got
Sunned
him.
him.
Yeah, if my ex is doing
let me
more
let
for
you
me,
borrow one of my
I mean,
cars
I
for the
don't
day.
know because I don't know if I would call. Like that's the last person I'm gonna call if we need help. Is my ex-husband. You can't help me and my husband. Thank you. No, thank you. Come help my kids. That's it.
Hey, ain't this a scene from Soul Food?
Yep.
I used to
Where he
call
got
her
the job
Cola.
for he
Oh,
called the
I
cola
used to
yes,
call her
to his
Cola.
face. Oh,
Yep.
Health,
cola, the
you are not.
nickname. Oh.
Yep.
Health,
I used to call her Cola.
hey, Health, explain that scene and explain kind of what you're trying to say because that is
Well,
a good example.
well, I mean, the new boyfriend, husband, whatever he was having trouble finding a gig, and um, the girlfriend was like, "Hey, I know somebody who own that shit. I know a real man. I could call a real man who can help me."
And women,
Because you going through a whole lot of little boy stuff, and I know a real man, so let me call a real man who can help you become a man. And if it's my little secret, it won't be no backlash. But the ex was a little shady. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to hit him where it hurt,
Yep.
so he was gonna
Note to
push the
women, never
boundaries.
do that. If your man lost his job, don't help him find a new one. Just help him with his search. Give him words of comfort. I believe in you. You could do it. Help him
I
write
think
stuff
he
down,
was
but
too
don't find him a
emotional.
job.
If you help put me on, you know what I'm saying, I ain't finna appreciate you making references to the fun
Yeah.
you used to have with my old lady. But you know what? I gotta take it. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? I was going through
right.
something, but I need to pay these bills.
That's
I
what
need
he
to
was
pay these
doing.
bills. And that's what a
Mhm.
real man was supposed to have at the forefront of his mind. He wasn't supposed to be worried about, because he already know his girl ain't fooling around with Buddy no more. Or at least if you have any questions in your mind why you tripping, you either trust
Uh-huh.
her or you don't. You know what I'm saying?
So I
So
think, but see, that's the problem is the boundaries when you have an ex or someone lingering right around, establishing those boundaries because in that same movie, he told her that he did not need help because she was like, "Hey, I know some people that come through the shop. I can help you." He was like, "I don't want no help. Don't help me. I can find my own
he
job."
took the help though.
And well, he didn't take the help. He went to the interview not knowing that she set the whole thing up because see, they called and just set
She
him up
messed
for an
up.
interview. And then she didn't tell him like, "Hey, I talked to somebody and that's how you got the interview." She made
That
him
that
think
made it hurt even worse.
he made him
Right. You
think
had
he
to
That that
wanted
lie.
to do
that made it hurt worse.
and see, women, it only works if the man never finds out. But if he finds out, it's
Yeah.
like a big if. Like, what happens if he finds out?
Putting that
Then
salt
you
on that
in
wound.
trouble, right?
Good. That's good. The
That's what
thing is though, like what is if your back is against the
Listen,
wall,
she said he wasn't moving fast enough for her. She had to get this. She needed that job to
and
happen.
that's
I
wrong.
mean, and
And that's wrong.
he had barriers. He had a background and things like that. So he was having trouble finding relationships. So she was like, "Look, I'm gonna help him. I'm a nudge, and I'm a, But she
I got you.
also, exactly, exactly.
There should be
You
no
can't do it.
nudging from
You,
women. You're messing up a man's pride, and man,
Right.
if he finds out, man, it might be some
man, you
domestic
can't be
violence.
prideful when it
Yeah.
comes to paying them bills, man. Things
All
get
right, help.
tough.
Okay, help tell him.
But it'll
So,
be
Hef,
thrown back in your
Things get
face.
real.
It'll be
It
thrown
get
back in your
real. You
face.
got to be bigger than your ego.
Let me ask you this: what do you think about having the mothers and baby mamas and baby daddies and like dating and how that affects dating and stuff like that? Because I didn't get your opinion. How do you
Uh,
think that affects a relationship?
so multiple baby daddies. I don't want to deal with one baby daddy, let alone multiple. So there was a similar conversation I had. I don't know who channel we was on, but pretty much I want you to be handling yourself so well out here that there's no issues that come with me dealing with you. If everywhere I go, there's dudes approaching me about you, there's people embarrassing our kids at school. Keisha, your mama, oh, she used to like that. You need to be handling yourself well out here
Right.
in these
She
streets.
out here if the kids know your
You know what I'm
issues.
saying? Like you got to be handling your business. And I feel like the same goes for men. You don't want no man who everywhere you go, there's a woman trying to tell you about your man. Like I'm all for open relationships. So it goes without saying that I'm gonna have some history out here. So I need to be protecting my image and being self-aware enough to know that I'm not going to embarrass the people that are in my life. Now, there's always going to be that ignorant person, that stupid person that goes out of their way to be spiteful or they jealous or they in their feelings about something. It's a possibility of it happening, but don't let this be a common thing for our life. We can't even go sit down at a restaurant without Jimmy walking up and wanting it to be known that he done had you good. And you know what I'm saying? Damn, here we go again. I got to fight for my love every night.
So what I'm hearing is that like if a woman has a good relationship meaning that the boundaries are clear, that you really don't feel like the man intervenes in your relationship, and you see that they have a good co-parenting and you respect that, but you see that she also have a good like a good boundary that she's established with
Yeah.
him. That would make you feel more comfortable dating a woman with children versus having a woman who got drama,
There
who
are
got
men
ties and things like that.
there are men out here dating prolific porn stars that have no issues when they out with their woman in
That's
social media world, and they have a harmonious relationship. Then you meet a chick that's got one baby daddy and he is ruining y'all life. Y'all can't get a new car, y'all can't enjoy ice cream. He trying to pull up, he pulling on my suit and roughing me up and messing up my suit collar, and I ain't got time for all of that. You know what I'm saying? That's too much. And I'm in a situation to where I'm kind of like the guy who got away from my baby mom. So all of her baby daddies, yes, all. I was the first baby daddy, but it seemed like she gives every guy that she falls in love with after me a baby. So now she's
Um,
on four. And
ooh,
so like I'm in Houston, she's in Minnesota, so I don't have to deal with nothing but take care of my kid. You know what I'm
okay,
saying? But for whatever reason, I'm the one who still has the cool relationship with her. We can talk. I'll help her out when she needs something, and you always hear them in the background saying little slick comments, and
yeah,
they all want to make it be known they could best me in a fight, and I'm like, I'm helping where you slacking at, like.
right.
Help fight some of these bills. You trying to
so
fight the
so
wrong
listen,
shit.
you have a good relationship with your child's mother, but her baby fathers are trying to have beef with you or have issues with you.
Yeah, I mean, they be making little slick comments, but it's always known that I'm not the guy for it. That's
Okay,
not what you
okay,
want to do. I'm laid back in the shades, you know what I'm saying? Like you go try to have some issues with me and somebody else go come for your head that you ain't even know existed. So like it becomes known that you
right.
don't be on that with him because he cool. He laid he ain't even moving
He ain't
like
even
that.
on that. He ain't even on
Yeah.
that.
So
Hmm.
and I keep them guys around who is on that.
Right.
So
So listen, I wanted to show y'all the Ready to Love
These are
cast.
the guys. Let me see.
So
I gotta get
these
closer.
this is the ladies and this is the men, right? This is who was in the lineup, and this is from DC. And so, we
Oof.
have Mameen, we have Zadia,
Aisha, oh,
Silo,
Aisha look
Sabrina.
like a booger wolf.
exactly, man.
Who was
She,
that?
ugh.
Who do Aisha? And
Aisha,
Aisha actually has a lot of men vetting her while you talking. She really does. And you got to look
That
at the
must be that
difference.
to
drop
marry,
3000.
No. You know
not
what?
to marry.
Google her. All of y'all Google her right now, and you'll
All
see
right, let me
why.
see.
Look, Google her right now. Her name is Aisha Ready to Love DC. Google her so you can see how she looks. And she's really a beautiful person. A beautiful woman.
I know
Man,
Carrington better
what
have a
Courtney talking
850
about
for
is
a credit
Sabrina.
score.
What
Now
I don't
look.
even worry about that. What's
Now look
Courtney
Your
and
at.
Sabrina talking
your
about?
name can't be Carrington unless your credit score is 850.
And these are the men,
Yes,
y'all, because they're the men. I'm telling you, and Phil to me, Phil got the most options, which is crazy because he is the like corniest to me. And I'm gonna talk about him later. But he
yeah.
is super corny, but he got the most options. Like, what is it that women are seeing on this show about him? But anything else. But
Ladies
here
love
are the
corny.
men.
I don't know. I'm
I
trying to see
guess.
what's up with Sabrina and
Listen,
Courtney.
they fighting over him too. Fighting. You talking about you trying to see what's up with Sabrina. So
Yeah.
Sabrina's 47. She's out of your age
Oh
Ooh.
limit.
no. Yeah, I'm done.
See,
Okay.
Ooh, I might make some
Yeah,
that
excuses. Like
is
Yeah,
45 was
Mr.
my
O,
limit.
she's
I
out
can
of
do
your age.
47.
She's out of your age limit, Mr. O.
what about
Okay,
Courtney
so who is Courtney? I
on
just
the
see
bottom?
Courtney.
What the hell?
Courtney.
What the hell?
Wait, which one is
Damn, on
Courtney?
the bottom
she
right.
Yeah,
pregnant
we
Right
again?
on the
Oh,
pocket.
Courtney.
yeah, Courtney, right.
Let me tell you,
I have to
she
be a
she
Camille
got
though.
out of the
That's that
competition.
fine chocolate.
She got out really early. She got out really early because
Oh damn.
the men didn't think she was like a good partner. She didn't listen, and she was a
Yep.
little bit more combative. And so men really, even though she was beautiful aesthetically, she was beautiful. I think she focused on the wrong guy, and when he just kind of played her, she played the game wrong. She didn't
What
keep her
was her
connection.
age?
She's in
How
her
old was
20s, 30s,
she? Okay.
30s, a young
Okay.
30. She was young. She was young, 30, 20, whatever.
So all of them have the possibility of dating all of them.
They can date anybody. So you can date
So are they in
anybody.
like one house or?
I think they have like socials to kind of meet up and get to know each other, but obviously the connections have to
But the
be
cameras just
maintained.
kind of following
Right.
everybody, and if you
Right.
bond with somebody, they'll pick up and follow that
That's
bond
right.
around.
And that's the
Huh.
point, is to establish bonds and connections without everybody. So
Oh,
I'm going to show you Mumin again, but Mumin and Frank are the next couple who kind of introduced to the family. And so her family is from Africa, like from Ghana. He's from Ghana as well. And they both
Hmm.
kind of identify because they know the tribes that they came from and stuff like that. And Mumin's family was very protective of her, which I loved that about her. And I want to say this: Mumin is one of my favorites. Let me show you her. Um, and she is one of my favorites. That is her. Oh my gosh, she is
Okay.
beautiful to me.
all right.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
she is beautiful, but she has been kind of to me struggling to find a super connection with everybody. Um,
Mm.
her family, Frank's family, basically said, "Hey, how serious are you?" I mean, her family asked Frank, "How serious are you about her? Like, are you dating multiple women? And what's going on?" And then he was honest about, like, "Hey, I have a connection with another lady in the competition." And so I guess that kind of deterred the family. But I think that you should be honest. So if you're dating multiple people, why not be honest and tell, "Hey, this is what's going on. I'm dating multiple people." But the family kind of saw it as a red flag. But I think that it just doesn't work in reverse for women. Like if women want to date multiple men, it's not looked at the same.
Yep.
But
They're
how do
from
you?
Africa and they had a problem with him dating multiple women. That's just not a common thing in Africa, like you
No, I
Oh,
say.
think
thank you.
they
at
were
all.
protecting they were protecting their daughter, and I feel like they're looking at it like, "Hey, you're looking for a long-term relationship and commitment, and this man is dating multiple women. He not sure about you."
I thought
I
that was
don't
a
know if
common
they
thing in Africa,
exactly
though.
that's, but it's also part of the competition or the whole entire concept of the show as well, right? That's what they're doing. They're all dating multiple people, and
Yeah.
that's what the competition. So I think maybe her father and mother just didn't understand the whole point of the show, or whatever. But how do you guys? Um,
Who is
so
Zadaya? What does they mean about she out of pocket?
who is?
Yeah.
Zadia. We're gonna talk about Zadia next. Oh yes,
Oh,
y'all.
Zadia.
Nut job.
Y'all keep listening. I got a whole thing about Zadia and Dante, girl. I have a whole thing. I'm so
Nut
happy.
job.
I'm so happy people are on here because I really want to ask the gentleman about that conversation and situation. But how do you guys? What do you guys think about that whole idea of women being upset about men dating multiple women, and like it's just a harsh reality that we must understand. But how do women just kind of cope with that and understand how do they get through that, I guess, if they want to be chose?
I just present it like this. I always want them to focus on what they want out of life and what they want from me. And as long as I'm being what you need me to be and I'm there for you the way you need me to be, you're not really going to be concerned about what I'm doing with anybody else. And if I put it that way, it tends to make some sense, and that seems to be what I want to keep them focused on. Are you happy? Are you happy? Are you getting what you want? It's only really an issue when I think women really have the issue with it because they automatically assume that they're going to be slighted in some way, or it may come off embarrassing. But I just think being truthful and focusing on giving that woman what she wants, she really is not going to be worried about what you're doing outside of that. She just has all these assumptions based on the world that we live in this modern time.
Yeah. I mean, I think you
Yes.
have to, if you want to date multiple women, especially
Mm.
on that show, it shows how you have to kind of give everybody equal amount of attention, and you have to make sure that you're, not really favoring one over the other until you know for sure that you've made your choice if that's what you want to do, right? Other than that, it's like hard to evenly distribute your time and your affection and your emotions to all these women. What do you guys think about that? Go ahead, Mr. Rucker.
I'd see one thing I don't know about the show. I want to ask real quick before we answer, because what if you have made a connection with somebody, but they kick off the person you made a connection with? It's
That's
like
a
how does
good
that?
point because that
Because
has
it's a
happened.
game and you got to play play the game the right way. So do you not
Yep.
want to make a real connection early on,
That has happened. And let me
or
tell
should
you
you
what happened.
kind of
I
stay
also
middle of the pack?
I also talked about the beginning of the show how you have to make multiple connections with multiple people in order to stay in the game, in my opinion. Because if you put all your eggs in one basket, and like you said, Mr. O, if that person goes, most of the time they always self eliminate because they're like, well, I don't have any other connections, I'm not
Right? Do
connecting with
you
any
just have
other
to
person.
choose another one for the sake of winning the game? Let me
Some
choose the.
people,
Yeah.
some people do.
It's entertainment, not
Some
a
people, some
relationship
people do.
based.
Look, Dante went on and got Aisha because Dante had a whole like relationship with Zadia at first, and him and Zadia had a strong connection. And then later, y'all don't like Aisha with the blonde hair, but he
Yep.
ended up having a relationship with Aisha. And now him and her have this bond, right? But everybody's like, was he just doing that to stay relevant, or really do he really like her? But that's what
Ain't
happened.
nobody trying to marry Aisha. I don't believe that.
No,
Listen,
no,
listen.
not to
He
I
trying
don't
marry.
to.
believe that.
He like her. He like her. Y'all ain't see
Mm,
the clip,
I
Mister
don't
O.
know.
When you listen,
Just for entertainment.
I'm doing
That
part
picture
two.
you showed me, that's all I got to go out for. And what I saw,
Listen, I'm doing part two. When you watch it,
That
you
motherfucker
tell
look like
me.
she housed at
You
full
come back
moon.
and you tell me how
Right.
you feel about Aisha and Dante because she had multiple connections, not just with
she
Gianna,
must got a
with
hell of an
Dante.
ass on her.
She does. She
There you
must
go.
do.
Got 3,000.
There
Look,
you
She
go.
must do.
Mr. Rucker, like she does. I
Yeah.
mean, she's got a
She
body. It's
holding.
not even.
The
She's got
body, not the face. just the
she's got a
just
So,
the
body.
so
body.
a scenario I
So
want to propose.
yeah.
I was having a fun conversation with somebody, and this was right after my TikTok like kind of went viral, and like you can see that it's 50,000 people that just added me overnight and is checking for me overnight. So once I hit it off with this person, she was like, and I told her about the open relationship thing, and she was like, "Oh, you have somebody in your life? Oh, I'm no longer interested." And it was audacious to me that somebody you can see how many people talking to me, and you think I was just around here just not entertaining nothing. Like I can get the idea of being single, but you thought I was entertaining nobody. I was just waking up, going to sleep alone, and just waiting for you to jump
Exactly.
in my inbox. Like I ain't have nothing going on. That's impossible. That's insane to even try to assume and or believe.
Right.
And
That would be
if
more of
you
a red
meet
flag.
somebody, huh?
That would be way more of a red flag. The fact that a guy that looks like this and has all his popularity has no women in his
Talking
life.
to nobody?
Yep.
He ain't
But
entertaining
but
Nobody.
to
nobody. He
but to
just avoiding
Hef's point,
everything.
are women realistic about the fact that men have multiple women that they're dating? I think
That was
that
definitely
No,
unrealistic.
Hell no.
not at all.
Nope.
I'll say this. From my experience, the confident women don't worry about other women at all.
Mm-mm.
They're too busy playing their part. That's what a lot of women don't understand. If you are handling your business, you're not going to have time to worry about another woman. But the ones
Yeah.
that's always concerned about the next woman, you know that you slacking. So it's either you going to step it up or get stepped on. And even women that are confident, even if they suspect if they have a good guy, even if they suspect the man has other women, they're not going to waste their time wondering. You know what I mean? They're going to look
Right.
at what's going on in their life. These bills are paid. We have a home. All these things are being handled. Is this worth losing for a chick that probably doesn't matter? So I just think that, I keep it real, man. Like a lot of these women that be talking all that, you insecure. It doesn't matter what you say, you insecure because you know who you dealt with. You
right.
know if he's gonna get a lot of attention. You want it to
Hmm.
be his main focus, and you not fulfilling that deed. Like, you know what I mean? You can't blame another woman. Study
My
her.
my
Yes.
grandpa was a preacher, and he put it to me like this one day. I don't want nobody that don't nobody else want.
Who
Bingo.
do? Who
y'all
does?
Like
And women
y'all
say
love
this all the time, though. It's like
y'all
y'all
love
say
the
this
women
like
that's
you want
like,
somebody, nobody. If nobody else wants him, it blows my mind. Like you love this man, you're infatuated. You mean to tell me you're the only one that's supposed to see that and want that? Of course.
Right.
Especially how many women that's on the planet. Of course, somebody else likes me too. You do. And that's why I don't
Okay.
get
It's
mad when guys want to compliment a woman that's with me. If I like her, I know somebody else gonna want her too. Why you
Right.
get so mad? Because somebody, this is weird. I think
I
it's
mean,
if you
all
want
the
to if you
lies.
want
guys,
the
People
best
just
guys
live
that
in
car,
are
these.
afraid of a
It's
little
all lies.
competition, they are either too busy to put in the work to find somebody new or to maintain what they already have, or they know that they are obviously slacking and lacking in areas.
yep,
Those are the only guys that are
yep,
afraid of competition.
yep.
Your wife is going somewhere. She going to the grocery store. She going to work. And and my favorite thing to say is that them guys at at the gas station gonna have the best conversation. They finna
Yep.
hit her with so many. Oh my queen, you look like an angel that fell out the sky. They coming with it. You
Yeah.
can't
No,
compete with
no.
them dudes at the
Let me
gas
tell y'all.
station.
Let me tell y'all a true story. I was in Jules, and Jules is like a local store in Chicago, a grocery store, but everybody goes. It's like a big popular chain or whatever, right? So I'm in Jules, and I'm like just shopping. This man, he is so funny. He came in front of my car. He got on his knee. He was like, "Baby, will you marry me?" It was so funny. Like he doesn't know me, but just the fact that
Going
men will
hard.
go to the extreme, like that
Yeah.
extreme, to like show a woman who they think is. And I'm like, I'm cracking up because I got on a mask and everything. I'm like, how do you even know how I look? You know what I'm saying? What if my teeth crooked under here? He like,
Flattering though, right?
like
Very
he was like,
flattering.
he's like, baby, I know you fine. Trust me. I know it. I don't even have to see you. He was like, I
the
know you.
finest, the
And
finest eyes he ever seen.
I was cracking up. I thought that was so funny, but I'm just saying that,
It's a lot
like in
going
our
on between here and there. That
yes,
mask
and
got
even
override a lot.
but even when like I told my husband or whatever, he like thinks that's so funny. Like that's
It
funny.
is.
It's like this, it's men,
I
I
mean,
mean
you can't be
in
mad
that
about
same
that.
no, in that same jewel, I had a little boy asked me to go to prom. I thought that was so funny because I was like,
Oh,
baby, I'm 33. Like I'm a grown woman. I can't go to prom
You
with
wait,
How
you
do
ain't
you
bring up
handle
the
these
husband first.
advances? Are
You
you
said
are
if
you
you was a little
breaking
bit
their hearts or
older.
are you letting them down easy?
I was like, no, I was so nice. I'm very nice. If you're respectful, like don't touch me or do nothing inappropriate. But if you just, if you do something lighthearted like that, I'm very nice and laugh it off or whatever. But let them know I'm married. First of all, some men see the ring and be like, oh damn, you beat me to it, stuff like
Man,
that or
there you
something.
go.
And we make a joke of it. But it's just hilarious that like you say, a man will like show that display of
they
like they
finna
gonna
go
flirt with you.
hard.
If you're a beautiful woman, men are gonna flirt with you. Obviously he ain't trying to really marry me, but it was just a funny gesture, right?
No man that has got the
You know.
goods is gonna be as cold as a man who has never had them. We
Facts.
are like as much as we want to be actively dating and pursuing a woman, we ain't competing with a guy who ain't never had it. He coming with it.
Yeah.
He on point. He
And
got
Yes.
I heard this statistic once where they say women get approached with an opportunity at least 3 times a day, and it's probably more because of social media now. But you got to think out of 365 days, 3 times a day plus over 1,000 times in a year, the woman is saying no. Like somebody's out of them 1,000 people, somebody
Right.
that came with something that had a lot that gave me some pressure for sure.
It's like when you're single, it's hard to say no sometimes because you like it's just so many men
So
coming all the
many.
time. You're like, how do I just, I mean, I think,
That's
and
why
I'm
y'all
not,
think y'all could just get a man anytime
and
you
I'm
want
not
because
saying
people
for,
are doing it.
I'm not saying it's like
Yep.
that for all women because I know that like some women really find struggle. I think it's quality that we find struggle with. Because I mean, you can go out and get like 10 numbers if you want to, especially if you looking good and you all dialed up that day. Some man gonna show you attention, but it's like, is this the man that I really want to be with, or is this a man I see a future with? Because I mean, like that man was like at least 60 something. That man who proposed to me, like even if I was a single woman, I'm not dating your ass. So it was just a funny thing.
Senior citizen.
He was so old. I don't even, and I don't know if he was 60, but he looked like he was a older man, like for
Yeah.
real. I was
Yeah.
like, you got a hard life or you old. You know what I mean? So I just think that it's just finding quality men who you will actually date, you know, and who you actually are interested in, because you're not gonna give every man who approach you your number. You know, so I think that part of this show is like they vet the men and they bring successful black men or men who, you know, are single, who are like seemingly successful, good looking, all these qualities that women look for, and they kind of mix them up with all these beautiful women and women who are definitely complement the men in a lot of ways, right? And then they put them in this little, they put them together and they try to say, okay, who's gonna connect and who's not, instead of pre-connecting people like some shows do, right? They let people kind of pick their own partners and stuff like that. So
I
let's
watched.
go ahead.
Did you watch the one on it's like Netflix, I think, where they it's a dating show where nobody gets to see each other?
Yes,
Forget what
Love
it's
is
called.
blind.
Blind one, yeah.
Oh, Love
They
is
Yeah.
blind. Yeah, you first of all, you don't even gotta ask me if I watched it. I'm pretty sure I
okay.
did, Mr. O. You know, you just gotta be like, hey, you know the show that I'm talking about. I probably know it.
I
But
saw
Love
like
is
the black girl paired up with a white
the
boy.
white guy.
Man, it
No,
kind of
no,
worked. Didn't it work? Like, are they
yes,
still together?
they are my favorite couple, and they still together. It's
But I
been
think
like
those two people would
been
have
three
never
years.
spoke to each other had it not been for
Mhm.
the way
She
they
fell in love with him. They fell in love with each other instantly just by the sound of each other's voices. And then like
conversation.
and then literally she was like she never dated a white guy. He never dated, you know, what I mean, I guess he's dated black women before, but she was the one who had never really dated a white guy. And they fell in love. But we got to talk about that show, Mr. O. I can't wait to talk about that
Yeah,
show. It's a
I
whole
did
nother
watch.
season.
You got jungle fever.
Oh, it's a whole nother season. We could talk about Jungle Fever and everything, but I love that show. Let's talk about. So I really want to move into now what this entire
Get them
show is
likes
about.
up. Get them likes up.
Get those dang on likes up, because I got like Hef, Mr. O, Evolutionary Playboy, and Mr. Rucker. Like y'all should be liking every damn
Too
thing, because
much game.
they
Yeah.
giving y'all so much game. Like y'all ain't never gonna get this game nowhere. So
Especially with
get those
Chris.
likes up. I cannot wait to cut this episode up so I can highlight y'all, because y'all be dropping some stuff. They dropping gems, and you know I haven't seen no gems being dropped. But y'all know that when they start talking crazy or when they start talking some good stuff, y'all need to be dropping these gems to kind of show that y'all support them and y'all got their back. Um, I want to talk about the overall theme of this whole entire conversation, because I really wanted to talk about conflict in relationships. And so I'm moving into this next topic, and I'm highlighting some things that happened in the show. I want to talk about these two. So
Mm,
this is
Yeah.
Shiloh and Phil.
okay.
Okay. So Shiloh and Phil, they had established a connection. Phil, he is so corny, but he got connections with like 4 or 5 chicks. I don't understand it. I'm sorry, Phil, if you watch
He's
it.
easy going.
Actually, Phil, I'm not sorry. You're corny. I don't know what to say. But
Easy
he has
going.
connections with multiple chicks. They are crazy about him. And a few of the chicks have went home. So really he's kind of like Shiloh. Him and Shiloh have a strong connection. And then him and this other girl named Sydney have a strong connection. Mind you, Sydney is younger and Sydney has connections with other people too. Okay. So
Mm.
long story short, Shiloh kind of had this conversation with Phil, and she kind of poured her heart out and told him like how she's really feeling him, right? Phil kind of responded with a kiss, like, "Okay, baby, thank you," mwah, right? Didn't give her a confirmation,
Ah,
didn't say
you
nothing,
like that?
you
Yeah.
know. And so, of course, you know how women are. We want to know how you feel, right? Even if you
Ah.
don't tell us the God honest truth, but he didn't tell her. So Shiloh invited him out to a bar. They met at a bar, and basically she was saying she wanted some clarity on where they stood before he met her people. So she was like, you know, I'm not introducing you to my family. I need to know what's going on with us.
Mm.
So Phil, again, he never gave her a direct answer. So I guess at some point they got into a heated argument at the bar. And we didn't see this. This is all something that they self-reported. So I can only go by what they told us. At some point, they got into this heated argument. They were both drinking. They were at a bar. The conversation got so heated that Shiloh began to walk away. Okay. As she's walking away, she's angrily walking away. And so the conversation just ended abruptly. He's going after her. It's 4 a.m. He sees that she's walking down a dark alley. He goes and he grabs her and physically restrains her from walking and takes her to her car, right? He's like, stop walking. I don't, I'm in protective mode now. Like it's 4 a.m. You're walking down this alley. She then says, don't touch me. She's screaming, don't touch me. And he continues to grab her, take her to where he thinks is safe. And he said, hey, listen, I made an executive decision. At that point, I felt like you were putting your life in danger. And I felt like it was important for me to intervene, right? For Shiloh, it became a thing. She is like extremely upset that he physically restrained her, um, to the point where she pretty much was like, I don't even know if I want to continue in this process, and I don't know if I have a connection with him anymore. Um, that whole situation escalated. I mean, they had a sidebar, they talked about it, they tried to come to a compromise. Phil basically was just like, he wasn't giving up on his position. He was like, look, I did it to protect you. I felt like whatever. She's like, no, I told you don't touch me. Don't put your hands on me. I don't want you putting your hands on me. How do you feel about that situation? And was Phil right in stopping her, knowing the situation is that she's going down this alley, she's by herself, even if she says, don't touch me? How do you guys feel, and how would you have handled that situation?
I
I
would have
think
let
in
her
that
go.
situation, his presence is probably more valuable than him putting his hands on her. Just following her, make sure she get to the car okay.
Right.
But having to grab her like that could be interpreted and taken so many ways. And you gave her what she needed to start this campaign about you having this other side to yourself. And as a competition goes, like that could hurt your standings for women to think that you have this abusive side to you, because that's the narrative she's trying to push. But I can see how he was just trying to protect her. But he could follow her. He could make sure she look. I'm just make sure you get to your car. I know you don't want to deal with me no more, but just go ahead. Once you get in the car, I'm gonna walk away. And I've done that with girls that it didn't work out. We decided that it wasn't gonna be a match, but I'm still gonna walk you to your car and make sure you get in the car okay before I part ways. And that's what I did. I'm just making sure that everything's okay, and I'm here. My presence is could sometimes be just as valuable or deterrent for a bad guy.
Mm. What do you guys think about that? Like how it escalated?
I mean, I would hate terribly for something to happen to you, especially while you're out with me. I assume you're going to feel way different about your remarks and whatnot. But there's only so many ways I'm gonna let you talk to me. And after you demand that I fuck off, for lack of better words, I kind of gotta let you have it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you your piece. I would like to be the good guy and the gentleman, but at the end of the day, there are some people behind that wall for situations like this, or even less. And
Right.
I'm not going behind that wall just because you hyped up on this adrenaline and you all emotional. It's my job not to be emotional with you. And even if, like Mr. O said, I'd plead with her to just walk her to the car, but if you still being extra and or disrespectful, I can't keep pushing the issue. I gotta let it's in God's hands now. Walk with
Right.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah.
God gonna protect you at this point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Walk
so
with Jesus, baby.
a lot of what we need to talk about too is when is it appropriate to have those type of conversations, right? Because they at a bar, they drinking. To me, that's a bad time to have a real serious conversation about where y'all relationships stand. Especially when you know that there's some issues because you're not feeling like the connection is as deep as it used to be. And I think they made a lot of mistakes even having a conversation at that in that situation. But for me, men, I'm gonna tell you, if a woman says don't touch her, don't touch her. Right?
Facts.
Like, don't touch her. And I am not saying that I blame Phil because I understood exactly where he was coming from.
Like,
Because
were they
women,
in a bad neighborhood? Where
that's
were
what he
they
was
at?
saying. And women like
It was
that,
dark. Yeah.
women like that, and I don't want to say women like that. Women who react emotionally, sometimes you don't realize the danger you can put yourself in as well as the gentleman. So, like, let's say he's walking somewhere with you and he's in a neighborhood that's unfamiliar to him, and there is, men who's sketchy and not up to no good and stuff like that. Like, even if he's following you, he could potentially lead himself into a bad situation. And so I think that he's trying to prevent all of that, right? He knows that they're not in the best of the neighborhood. He knows that this is 4 a.m. It's really dark. She's walking down this alley. She's been drinking. She's tipsy. So he has all of these things in mind, and I think his intentions was good. The problem with him was like, when you decide to put your hands on someone who has had trauma, because I think what she mentioned was that she's had a history of some abuse, or something has happened to her in the past, right? Right. Kenneth, if I can't recall, but I think she's had some trauma in the past. And so for you to grab her was like re-traumatizing her.
Right.
Like, ooh, like now she's like, he's aggressive, he's this, he's that. And she's never seen that type of behavior before, but that helps. Go ahead, Mr. Go ahead, evolutionary, because I know
Yeah,
it's gonna jump.
man. I'm gonna keep it real. First off, if you're not healed from your trauma, you shouldn't be out there trying to date nobody. You need to be in a therapist's office handling that. And if you can go from where are we in a relationship to a couple minutes later to don't touch me, that's showing the signs of who really is the problem. So after that, I mean, first, I'm not gonna grab no woman that I'm not with like that. Like I'm not gonna put my hands on you if I don't know you like that. And the moment a woman tells me, leave me alone, don't do this, I'm walking
Hmm.
the other way.
Right.
I'm not about to risk my life because you angry.
Hmm.
So I
hmm
think I
If
think
you
she
ask her
showed a
to stop and she didn't stop, or she didn't come back, if you say, hey, come back, it's late, like whatever, and she's not listening, then you go after her and try to stop her,
no. I'm
Well,
turning around.
yeah.
I have a reputation for letting you live with your decision.
Bingo.
Right.
Bingo.
You go call me the next day, regrettably, like, man, I
Man.
was too drunk, and we both go learn a valuable lesson. You probably shouldn't drink that much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I
Real
mean,
talk.
I think that's
Yeah.
important to really realize, like, when you're in a heated confrontation, you still need to have boundaries. A lot of people, they just like, they act solely on emotion and forget about everything, all logic and all. Because, like, why would you be walking down the alley that late at night? And if you go into a bar,
Yep.
especially if you meet your man, you probably dressed a little cute, you got
Yep.
your makeup so you just never know what kind of trouble you gonna get into. Anyway, I don't walk down alleys by myself.
Right.
I literally stopped calling this dude because he came to pick me up and he took me down the alley. What the fuck? I cursed him out. I was like, have you lost
Yeah.
your little mind? We in Chicago. Don't you ever take me down
What
no
do you
damn
mean he
alley.
took you
Yeah.
down the
Yeah.
alley? Like,
Yeah.
y'all
You
was
can't play with
skipping?
them
What
alleys.
y'all
Oh my
doing?
mind.
Suspect.
Like,
Collecting coke cans?
I went in straight I went in straight masculine energy mode, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, oh no, you have lost your mind. Like, don't you ever do that. You have put my life in danger. Like, don't do that. This is late at night. It was sketchy people. Like, he was just right trying to do a shortcut through a light.
Oh, see, when I was in Minnesota, like downtown is where all the clubs and bars at,
Yes, right.
and you can cut through an alley real quick.
Yes.
So I used to do that a lot, but you should know you in good hands. Like by the time we going out and we dating, you should
I
know
didn't
you in
trust
good
him.
hands when
I
when.
didn't trust him then because I
So
was
if you would have
scared.
responded like that, I would have
Yeah.
been like, oh yeah, we're a little premature to be going out.
Right. Look,
I'm from the hood. Look, I'm from the hood. I got trauma. I was like, no, don't take me through no alley.
Hey,
That's
them
scary.
Chicago alleys different
They
though.
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
uh,
that sounds a
I
little
think
different
when
than Minneapolis.
and he's from
Yeah.
Chicago, so I feel like he should have known not to do that.
yes.
Like, I understand if
Well, I think he knew
you're
the
not from,
reverse. He was familiar with doing what he was doing and
maybe he
had done
thought
it plenty
so.
of times
Yeah.
Maybe
and
he
was
thought
like, we'll
so.
be good this time as
But
well.
I didn't call him no more because I felt like he made bad decisions. I was like, it was a lot of people because it was a lot of people in the alley too. Like, sketchy. It didn't look right. You know what I'm saying? Not
Looked
that it
like a
was just like
setup.
it
Yeah.
never was just the alley. It was just like it didn't look right. Like, why would you go down that alley? That's what I was
Right.
thinking. But okay, so that was the Shiloh thing. Did everybody talk about that and what their opinions about that situation? Mr. O,
I'll
I
just
don't know
make a
what you said.
I'll just make a quick comment on
Go
that.
ahead.
The moment that woman said, "Get your hands off me" with that tone, the fact that she would say, "I don't know what this is going to lead to," she already made that decision with that tone. No matter if you have trauma or not, the moment a woman says that to you, fellas, don't even call her, block her. Like she made her decision, and don't feel guilty if something did happen to her. That tone and what she said was like, nope, because he tried. He's trying to do it for safety to save his face and everything. He did it, but him putting his hands on her, and the moment she says don't do it, like, okay, that's it. Whatever happens from you, God bless. Whatever happens, happens. So
And
as
let's
soon as
be
she says
honest.
that tone, it's like it's over.
And
Yeah,
let's be honest. Once it gets to a place to where you have to get physical in order to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, all of the good went out the window at that point.
Yep.
So like he wasn't as smooth as he should have been as a man in the situation.
Right.
Um,
right.
Mr. O had the best point about it. Follow her to the car. If you know what I'm saying, she can cuss you out the whole way to the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, let her have at it and let her
Yeah.
get disrespectful as she won't. She's at her car. She's in her car. She started her car. She's pulling off safely. Woo! Blocked it,
Yeah. And
bitch.
she said that, hey, you could have followed. She's like, if you were that concerned, because really she just asked him for her space. She didn't want him to follow her. But she was like, if you were that concerned, you could have just followed me to the car and then that would have been the end of it. But he did physically pick
it,
her up.
it does
And,
sound like he was trying to exude a little dominance.
and
He
she
was.
she said that there were bruises on her from when he picked her
Uh-oh.
up and
Uh,
retrieved her.
Like
yeah,
I don't
she
know, he
one
Yeah,
of
must have
them.
she
talent
She
shouldn't
to
even
do
called
be
the
that.
allowed to
cops on
pull
you.
that card.
She did.
Yeah,
She pulled the
yeah.
card. She
Well, I'm
pulled
saying
that
he
card.
shouldn't have given her the fuel, the
Yep.
evidence to be able to pull that card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Because
Bruises.
it went
Oh
there. But that brings me to another situation that happened on the show. Zadia, who, and this was both in response to the men kind of choosing other women over them. Okay, so this is what happens. Okay, like for instance with Shiloh and Phil started to form a connection with another girl named Sydney who was a little younger. And let me kind of show y'all her picture. I'm gonna show y'all because I don't know if y'all saw Sydney. Sydney, where is she? Is she on here? Oh, she came later, so they don't even have her on the. Okay, y'all gotta Google Sydney. They don't have her on here because Sydney came later and she was like a wild card. But she's a young girl, she got this like nice little curly hair. She light skinned, bright, and all that. He didn't form a connection with her. And Shiloh kind of figured out like he got a connection with both of them, and so she's trying to kind of see where he lies, right? Which person he's choosing. So she got upset with him, I think, because she saw that he was kind of pulling away. And same thing happened with Zadia. Okay, Dante kind of pulled away. He's kind of feeling Aisha now a little bit. And so in another episode, Zadia confronts Dante at a dinner. She's standing up and she's pointing her finger in his face like this. She's like, she's like going off on him. I mean, aggressively going off on him because she's basically saying like, you're a liar. I was gonna choose you. Basically like you weren't honest with me, and then you basically formed a relationship with another woman and didn't tell me the truth. And she felt like Dante kind of felt like he was a second option to her, like he wasn't the first choice, and he didn't feel like she had a genuine interest in him. So he was rightfully so forming other connections. So now there's two situations where women are responding that way, right, to men who are choosing not to be with them.
At the end of it all, it's right. The man he gets the option to choose the woman, right? No women can choose the man, right?
I mean, they have a portion of the show where the men choose the women, and then there's a portion of the show where the
So
women.
a woman can say, "I want to be with you. Come on," and it's
Well,
over with.
they kind of have to choose each
The
other.
man could do that though. Say, I
Right.
choose you," and then she there. So
Right.
at the end of the day, you exposing your crazy by doing that other stuff, and it's taking you out the block.
Oh, here's
You
Zadia and
chose.
here's Dante. Here's Zadia and Dante, by the way.
They gotta hold their crazy back a little bit because that's gonna take them. All the guys are gonna be in a circle. Like, you seen how she reacted to that? I'm staying away.
Oh, he says. Oh, so this Mr. CYP said both of them are 33.
33.
I thought she was older. Sydney and Silo
She
are
look
both 33.
muscular.
So
Yeah.
no. Zadia is very beautiful. I don't
She
know if
looks.
this is the
She looks.
picture.
Yeah.
She's very
Bad
fit.
makeup.
That sound like you put musty and muscular together.
Muscular. Yeah. She look. Yeah.
She's
She
very
was
she's very
muscular.
fit. She's
She look
very
like
fit.
she ready to grab somebody.
She look okay.
She's fit and she's beautiful. She's
Mm.
fit. She's beautiful. She
Yeah.
is a beautiful girl. I don't know if I have the best picture of her, but she is a beautiful woman.
There's better
Um,
pictures, but she looks okay. She okay.
she's very beautiful. I will say that. But there's two incidents where you see women, in conflict with men, and you see this whole idea of women not understanding that there's other options, and women, men are vetting other women, and this is just in real life too. This is not just on Ready to Love. This is what happens, right? And so then you have this tension between the men. So kind of how do you feel about the way we handle conflict, right? The way we handle conflict. In both of those scenarios, if you were a man and a woman is like pointing in your face, like pointing in your face, she's standing up over you, she's like
Man.
aggressively yelling. How exactly do you deal with a woman?
I'm unsubscribing. I want. Can I unsubscribe to this channel? I think you have the wrong idea about what we're here to do. Take me off the call list. Is there a manager present? I don't want to
Yep.
speak to a customer representative. I need to speak to the manager. There's been a violation, and I want to opt out of this contract.
Yeah, have that part edited
Whatever
out.
I've done to put you in position to feel like you have this type of authority over me, I retract that statement. I don't know how we ended up here, but we are in the wrong place.
Exposing
Do
your
not
crazy.
pass go. Do not collect 200.
Women used to keep their crazy on the raps until they got the ring. This
Yes.
is nuts. This is nuts to behave like this and expect a man to still say, "I'll choose that." No
Right.
man want to take that home. It looks nuts. Like all this, the antics. We just looking at you like a
It's
psychiatrist.
so
Right.
unattractive, man.
Yeah, like if y'all didn't learn nothing from my previous episode, men want peace, right? So
Thank
that's
you.
a definite sign that
Yes.
you're
Thank
not going to bring peace. And for me, a woman can set the atmosphere of her home. You can
Yes.
set the tone. If you want it to be a negative environment, you can make it a negative environment. And if you want it to be a positive, you can do that as well. And I mean, we don't solely have control. Obviously, your partner has to be healthy mentally and etc. But if you have a healthy partnership and the man is, essentially uh, whatever, complimenting you, or he giving you whatever it is that you love and you deserve, I think that you have to set that tone of positive energy in the home. And I think what she showed was that she's going to be combative when.
Is somebody unrolling scotch tape? What is that?
That's what I.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. That's probably my house.
Uh,
No, that's probably
I'm
my
like,
house.
somebody unrolling scotch tape.
Somebody
Somebody fixing something.
I would say, look,
wrapping gifts.
honestly thought y'all couldn't hear it because like I'm supposed to have this sound blocking
Oh, it's a
device
child's
here,
toy. It's a toy.
but y'all can't hear it.
That's,
Yeah.
that's definitely scotch tape. I know scotch
No,
tape when I have
it's
scotch
actually
tape.
it's actually a rocking chair. I got a baby upstairs. We got a rocker.
Ah.
So her nanny be rocking her and everything.
Hey,
That's
I'll
probably
say
what
this
y'all can
though.
hear.
I'll say this though. Like for women, if you want to figure out if you choosing the right guy, when you pissed off, if that man can't calm you down, then pick somebody else. Because the thing about it is, a good leader is going to be able to bring that balance back. He's going to be able to restore the order in that situation. You know what I mean? So if you pissed off and he says
Mhm.
something and his words can't move you, then you need to move.
Mhm.
Simple as that.
That's
Because at
fact.
the end of the day, it's the man that controls the energy in the relationship. So no matter how crazy your woman acts, if you can't bring her back down, then I mean, for one, she don't listen to you and you're not leading. So I say she should go somewhere else. Just like perfect example,
Yeah.
Mr. O and Hef. I don't even have to know them like that to know the calmness with how they talk. It's gonna keep them in line. You don't got to be all this barking. It don't take that.
And why none of that stuff that you talk about, I never have really those situations. Maybe at home it might happen if she's but in public, oh my god.
You saying in public, right? Because disagreements happen in all relationships, y'all. I know y'all trying to make it seem like, but disagreements happen. What matters is how you dealt with that disagreement, right? It's the way you deal with issues with your partner that determine if your relationship is healthy or unhealthy.
See what I
Yeah.
don't like about this idea though is people, mainly women, will push the scenario that nobody's perfect and you're going to have disagreements, yada yada yada. But it doesn't have to be unhealthy. Um, you're we're in a world where there are so many options that we end up settling in one way or another because we don't find somebody equally yoked to us. And a lot of us got to see those beautiful relationships with our grandparents and great grands and so forth and so on. And out of my 33 years, my grandparents were married like about 30 of those. So they were probably dating a cool 5 6 years before I was born, and around the time I was 3 they got married, and I never seen them argue. I've seen them disagree, but it was the most beautiful disagreement you'd ever wish to see. It was sickening. My grandpa would,
Yes.
honey, that's not what I said.
Okay.
And you go calm down. But baby, that's not how we said we was going to, honey, I don't want to talk about this, baby. But do you have to go to Walmart right now? It's 2 in the morning. I'm putting on my shoes. You coming or not? All right, give me a second. Like they
Yes.
they spoke to each other from a place of care and concern at all times of the day. And growing up, I learned that that's what a relationship is supposed to look like. We are so eye to eye that we have firm, concrete rules that we will not break. And I've come to find that a lot of people don't have boundaries for themselves in the relationship. I'm not going to go this far. I'm not going to go that far. And
Yeah.
for some people, it's up. Oh, you did this, so I can do that. You call me out my name so I can bust all the windows out your car. Oh,
Yeah.
you like my homeboy picture? I can black your eye. Like,
So so
It
let me
takes
say,
That's
I
it's gonna
think
take a
too
lot of
much.
restraint and
I think that a
calmness.
lot of people, I'm sorry, a lot of people try to avoid conflict because they just don't know how to deal with it. But what happens is you end up internalizing the conflict and then you start like resenting your partner. And over time, the conflict just builds up, and so instead of addressing it, you're just letting it build, and pile up. So,
Yep.
how exactly do you come up with alternative solutions to whatever conflict you're having? And I think that one thing that you can do, one thing, and I mean, there's going to be several that I list, but one thing I feel like we can do is be honest with each other, be truthful. What do you guys think about that? Because I think that
Uh,
if in that situation with Shiloh and Phil, I think Phil should have just told her, hey, I am forming a connection with Sydney. And I don't think that by any means that would have changed the outcome of their situation. But I do think that had she known that information up front and she didn't think that she was the only person, Same with Zadia and Dante. I think Dante didn't tell her like, "Hey, I'm betting someone else." They both kind of thought they were the only ones in that situation.
I don't know
No,
how
they
if
were
you
both
laid out the
How can
emotional.
you
show.
think that on a
Too
show?
Everybody at
emotional.
Right.
one time, just talk.
But see, the show, at some point, the show kind of gets down to uh, your final selections, right? So you're in that vetting period where you're kind of wrapping up and forming connections with that top person who you're going to form a connection with. And so if you've been the person that they've connected with the entire time and they haven't had any other suitors, you're not thinking about the other women. You're
So
thinking about just y'all connection.
are
And
the
they have,
men doing the same thing on the show too? When the woman is dating two guys, do they get like that too?
of
Do
course
they
not.
get mad? Oh, I thought
And
I
you
was
know
the
Yeah,
only
that.
one.
right.
How you gonna get mad because they chose somebody else though? That's dumb.
That's the premise of the
That
show.
is
Yeah,
dumb.
too emotional. Like
But
everyone's
That's
do you
tuning in
dumb.
think
to see the
But do
car
you
wreck.
think? But because women are different from men, right? Because sometimes y'all like to flip it and be like, "Well, do men do this?" But y'all know we not like y'all. We think
That's an
differently.
excuse.
Exactly.
That's an
That's not
excuse.
fair.
Got to
Emotional
be
So now
accountable
we
for
maturity
your
gotta be.
Too
is
actions.
emotional.
emotional maturity.
So
Too
now we gotta
emotional.
be like y'all when it's convenient for
No,
y'all.
you don't have to be like us. You have to be emotionally mature. You have to have your emotions in check.
Yes.
There has to be limits. Unc gave the scenario of sending his kid's mom a Mother's Day card, and the woman he's dating had issue with it. I can speak for Unc and say he ain't seen this woman in 20 years unless it was an event for the kids.
Right.
Right.
So you coming into a relationship, you're under, let's say you was there 5 years, let's say it's 1 year, whatever the scenario is, you up in arms about a card,
Too
baby, you're
emotional.
not ready. You're not ready to be out here dating. Shiloh is not ready to be out here dating if she
He's not.
still feels
But do you
comfortable
think?
putting her finger in a man's face. Because if he would have broke
No,
that
no, that
finger
was
and
Zadia.
blacked her
That was
eye,
Zadia. That was Zadia. Not
Zadia, my
not
bad.
not not
I don't
Shiloh.
want to mix them
Shiloh.
up.
Shiloh. She did not. She's the one who was
Okay.
grabbed, physically
What did
restrained.
you say? Zendaya, Zadia.
Zadia. She's the
Zadia
one
is
who did.
not ready to be out here dating. She's not ready for companionship.
And they
As
have eliminated
Playboy
her.
said, she needs to be in a therapist's office, working on
Yep.
herself, doing her squats, getting herself mentally prepared to engage in adult, mature
She has been
interaction.
eliminated. She has been eliminated because the men felt that
Good.
she wasn't ready to love. And her response alone, because Dante remained calm. He did not go back at her aggressively. He sat there and ate his soup, his vegan soup. He didn't even respond to it at all. But
Yeah.
she was very emotional and aggressive, and he just he did not even give it any attention.
It
And
comes.
then
It
she was,
comes.
yeah,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead,
My bad. My
go
bad.
ahead, evolutionary playboy, yeah.
I was just gonna say it just comes down to accountability because no matter if you're a man or a woman, people always make that argument. You're a man. You're supposed to be able to do. Now we're humans with emotions, and if a man feels disrespected by another man, he might put his fist in his face. So if we feel disrespected by a woman, we might want to do that too. But it takes restraint
Yeah,
not to act on that. And
right.
it's like women have to exercise that as well
Yeah,
because there are some dudes that will put their foot in you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's
Right.
just
Listen,
like to avoid that, be accountable for your actions
that's
and
right.
your emotions.
But
Don't say, well, we women, well, we men.
well, let me say this. Let me say this. Overall, I do think that being truthful and being honest with your partner overall avoids conflict. I'm not saying that every scenario is perfect, but I do think that if a woman knows up front that you're dating multiple people, and this is not a game show, this is like real life, right? So if a woman knows, like, hey, you have other women that you're dating, she ain't gonna be like caught off guard if she see you at the show with somebody or she see you out to dinner, or because I know in Chicago, even though we are a huge city, it's just a small amount of people. We all know each other. So it can happen. You can be just out and somebody you can see a guy you're dating with a date with another woman, and if you know up front, it could be a very different reaction than if you learn when you see them at dinner. So I just think overall, be honest. That's a way to avoid conflict. Can y'all agree with that?
No.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Rucker. Explain your
a
reason.
lot. A lot of women are too emotional. They can't handle rejection. They never been really rejected so much, or they've been rejected so much they just flip out. So any little thing can set them off. So we tell you the truth and be honest. So we can give you as much detail as you want. You will just be like, ah, da, 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 like, whoa! I just expected you to say, okay, I understand, and move on.
Right.
It's like, okay, this is why men lie. This is why men don't say anything. They just ghost because they don't want to hear the rebuttal. So women just need to work on handling rejection. All these women on this show should
Yeah.
have something in their mind saying, hey, I could be dumped. I could be eliminated. There's a possibility. Am I going to act like a fool on national TV, or I'm going to handle myself like a lady? And a lot of them just go off and just cuss them out, putting fingers in guys' faces, knowing that there's cameras and they can't do anything about it. Like, okay, this is how you get your little win. We just
Yep.
got to sit there and take it. It's like, no, you know what? We can't tell you the truth. We just gonna
Has
let you your
Ladies,
imagination take wild.
if a
has
man
this
doesn't, if he doesn't solidify his connection and commitment to you, it's probably not like in that moment when he said, when you asked him where he stood and he gave you a little kiss on the forehead of endearment, that means that he has not made a decision and that you are not number one. So you have to adjust. You have to hear that. If you ask a man a direct question, he doesn't answer, then he gave you the answer. I don't
Mhm.
has
know. Some
see the
women don't
thing is about
understand.
what women may not. I, mean, I guess they should hit this from a man, but like the one that's asking, is it me? Is it me? It's probably not going to be you. It's going to be the one that ain't asking. That's probably the one that he's going to choose. The one that's low key and laid back and staying in her place, and not doing all these things and making things unpeaceful, like he was saying. I
Yeah.
wanted to ask though, like, has this show actually produced any real relationships after the cameras went off?
It has. It has. It's
Really?
got some good
So there's some
successes,
serious.
actually. It's got
Okay.
some good successes. I mean, there's at least a couple of relationships that's come from each season. Some people have not been. I think there's even been a marriage and some like long
Mm.
term commitments. And so yeah, there has been some results. I mean, obviously, with all of the couples, it's not too many. It's like one or two relationships, and you see all of the people involved.
Right. It's
So
like
it
20
ain't like
people.
it's like a high percentage, but there has been some. Sorry, somebody got the y'all
It's a
got
I
the
was
decent
going I was
ratio, I
going to add
guess.
this
Out of
too.
out of
somebody got
20.
the YouTube on again because I hear the echo again, y'all.
Man, that's
Just
me
FYI.
again.
Turn y'all. That's you again, Mr. I
I was
want to.
going to
I
add
want to
this.
go ahead, Mr. Go ahead, Mr. Evolutionary
Um,
Playboy, and then I'll
I was
talk.
I was going to say that if a man's in a relationship with you, he has a different obligation to you, whatever terms you guys came to agree on. If a guy's dating, he doesn't have to tell you shit.
Mm,
If he get caught eating downtown Chicago, you just see him eating. He's not your man. So these
mm.
women have to understand if you're not
Preach.
wifey, you don't get wifey rights. You don't
Oh,
have
so
to
that's a
explain who
different.
he's talking to.
Hmm.
Gems.
So women need to know where they stand in the relationship, and a lot of women are scared to ask that question because a lot of women don't want to know the real answer from men, right? They don't want to know like, hey, you're just one of the three, right? They don't want to know that. But if you ask,
Yeah.
you do need to know where you stand. But you need to understand if you're not the only or the main woman, he may not respond or tell you what you want to know. He doesn't have to tell you who else he's dating. He doesn't have to communicate those things to you. Worry about your connection and your relationship with him and not the other woman is what Mr. Evolutionary Playboy was trying to say.
Well, what's
Well,
unfair about that is a lot of women have been lied to and at a severe rate. So it's impossible for us just to expect them to come to the situation without some uncertainty, without being hesitant.
That's right.
Um, the rules of engagement are very important, but they got to be established. You can't act accordingly if you don't know what accordingly means.
Absolutely. I mean, and that was Zadia's point. Even though she got aggressive, I understood why she was hurt and why she was humiliated because they went away for that weekend. And I think she expected to kind of spend the weekend with Dante and have this whole connection. And he had planned like a whole nother date with another like lady, and he had barely saw her the entire weekend and didn't give her no warning, like, hey, I got this going on or whatever. And so I think, like you said, it blindsided her and made her feel like, okay, why didn't you communicate that you had another connection, with someone else? And I think that communication is important. So for me, I think one way to avoid conflict is just to be honest with people, to be truthful. Um, I also think that you do need to talk about how you feel, but I don't think that you should blame your partner in those, like, that is the true way to get back into the conflict. But if you talk about how you feel, or maybe share your perspective on the situation, um and I will say this: after you have listened to your partner and his explanation or his understanding of the situation, and you kind of repeat what they're saying back to them, and you're clear about your partner's side, right? Then you can share your perspective. So how do you guys feel about that? Do you think that's a good way to resolve conflict, is sharing your perspective, your side, listening, repeating? What you saying,
I
Mr. Rucker?
want.
He's shaking his head.
I need there to be a bare minimum. The least that I can ask for is for you to handle yourself like an adult. I don't think that's too much to ask for in any scenario. I don't care what the scenario is. Handle yourself. Be a woman like you expect me to be a man. There can be a misunderstanding. There can be some miscommunication. There can be a difference in expectations. A lot of things can go wrong, but I don't want it to be an option for you to want to ruin my life over whatever the scenario is.
Right.
We should be able to sit down and come to terms like two adults. If that's us walking away from each other, if that's us establishing how much communication you need to be comfortable, regardless of the circumstance, I need that to be the bare minimum. Is for you to handle yourself like a damn woman.
Mm. Okay, but what does that mean, handling yourself like a woman? Just for the women who
Okay,
may not
so
understand.
I say something that upsets you. This is not acknowledgement that you can get up and throw your drink in my face.
Exactly.
So do
Like,
not get physical at any moment, especially if
no,
there's a calm demeanor situation, if everything
right.
is calm. Why are
Because
you
women lie
escalating?
anyway.
Why are
That's
you
why.
escalating it to a physical altercation? Is really
Right. If we are talking, let's talk. There's nothing on the table that allows you to go upside of my head. You found out about another woman. What is hitting me gonna do? I'm late for our date.
you still gonna be with the other woman when she done.
You know what I'm saying? I'm late for our date. Now you all loud and yelling and embarrassing us outside.
Yep.
Like, no matter the circumstance, handle yourself because you gonna want me to handle myself. And uh we don't like to acknowledge that a lot of men are just as emotional as women, and that's why the dating pool is so messed up because everyone's expectations are all out of whack. We've all had these weird scenarios, and we're almost expecting the absolute worst out of everybody. Nobody
That's right.
comes to the table with the understanding that um, you can have a mature interaction with somebody. We all just think that everybody's crazy and insane. Meanwhile, this guy is representing himself a certain way and he meets a woman representing herself a certain way. They hit it off and they shoot to the moon. And somehow this good guy who just wants someone to mother his kids and him go to work and come home to a happy house, a clean house, he keeps finding a woman that's only good for making babies. Like, we
Wow,
seem to
wow.
all get these bad deals, and we don't think that the real thing exists out there. So the bar keeps getting lower and lower and lower and lower. We end up like, which was she got all her toenails, so I'm gonna give it a try.
So,
You like
so
one of the
That's
first
what is
sad.
it?
conversations. One of the
What
first
is it? Go
conversations
ahead.
I always have with every woman that I get involved with, I always talk about grace and class. I always want to make sure that they are always mindful about that because of how I move. It has to compliment me when we are in public. And if they can't execute and operate on a level like that where grace and class is always in your mindset when you're out moving, then it's not gonna work. So a lot of the things that women are doing, if you notice, some of the things that they're doing to men, men wouldn't do to men because they know that somebody could die, a fight come with that. If your man put his hand in your face like this, which is why guys don't just generally talk to each other like this until it escalates.
Right,
Generally, we're gonna try to talk and see where it is before it gets to there. But for a woman to do this, not a man wouldn't do it because we know what come with that. And if a man responds to you in the way that he would respond to another man because of the way that you're acting, you lost your grace in class. You're not gonna like what comes with that. So you always got to be mindful of grace and class. And if you don't know anything about it, man, watch the red carpet. Uh, get some influence from women who move with successful wealthy men and see how they carry themselves in public. What you
right,
do at how you manage your stuff at your house is your house, but in public, image is important for
right,
success. Your
right.
relationship depends not only on these other things, it depends on the image as well.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
the image is trash, the relationship will end fast.
But I do understand health, and a lot of what he's saying is that a lot of expectations are tied to the detriment of relationships. So the fact that people think that men don't have emotions and men don't feel, that maybe women feel like they can push the buttons, right, and go and push the boundary, because a lot of times men present as if they are emotionless, or that some things don't bother them. And I think that some women, not that it's excusable, but some women use that as an excuse to maybe aggravate, or get a little bit more aggressive, because they know that men are a little bit more rational when it comes to making those decisions, right?
It's a
um
weird
Mm,
time right now,
yeah.
and there's not a lot of. I guess we don't know the outcomes because it hasn't gotten that old. But there's two things that happen when these homes when we were raised without a father in them. You got emotional males and you got stronger women, and so this is what you meeting now, right now. You haven't really saw a lot of men that watched a man preside over these things the way Chad was talking about how he's witnessed his grandparents. I never seen a man preside over any home growing up. We didn't have patriarchs.
right,
We never had them. Financially, child support and things like that were taken care of, and you kind of knew where you got your school clothes from, but you didn't really see a man preside over families and arguments and disagreements. And I didn't get to see that a lot. And so you teach
so
your
who did.
daughters to be strong and don't put up with things out of men, but then
Right.
they go too far with it because they start to think that they are men, and you can't do that,
so
especially
what
with
do
a
you
man
so what do
who isn't
you
great at managing his emotions.
who do you get your influence from, though, and who do you get, how do you.
There learn behaviors that you acquire over time, but you had to want to do that first. There's a time in my life that I can go back to where I realized I wasn't a man, and I had to take that journey. There's some years and things that I required information and watching. I was swift to hear and slow to speak when I was around men who knew more than me. And I remember before that, I thought I knew everything. And then I realized I didn't know nothing and I had to take that journey. But you gotta want it though. For a young guy to say that he know it all and he's emotional, like he's not gonna change based on just him seeing a guy do something one time. It's a journey. It's a process.
Yeah, yeah. I think, honestly, I respect your opinion, Mr. O, and I understand where you're coming from. But a lot of monogamous relationships, the success of it is really understanding both people, and being
Gee,
able to be
man.
open and listen. Because if you are coming into it with this a mentality that you need to dominate or overpower, then it's really always going to be a constant battle and fight in the relationship. And that's just my opinion. I think that you have to be realistic and say, hey, you know what? I'm trying to partner with this person and understand this person and establish a connection. So, like, how do we do that responsibly? And I think that's what I'm trying to help people understand is how to partner with
Partner.
people.
We
Yeah,
definitely should learn how
most
both
people are
people
partnering,
think. Like
but
I
Mr.
always
O,
say to
most
you, if
people
I
are
want,
partners. No people, nobody, the men are not,
should I?
I
men
want to
are,
know what Playboy was finna say.
oh, I'm sorry, but most men are not taking over the household. Y'all may be an
They
anomaly,
should.
but that's men are not controlling the finances in all of these homes. Okay, like I've tried to take myself out of situations like, oh yes, okay, my husband does this and this. No, if you look at statistics and look how people live, most parties, both the woman and man, are working and contribute to the bills and the household and the success of the relationship. And so why are we speaking as if that's not a reality? That's
It
what I
doesn't
don't.
give her a right to emasculate him because they're both putting in on the bills. I think she should still,
Emasculating is not, how is he, how she emasculating?
well,
She's
being
contributing.
disrespectful, talking to, putting his hand in his face in
Oh yeah,
public.
right,
That's
right
little
now.
boy in him.
Well, if we talking about that situation, okay,
Yeah,
we
she's
all
talking about
we
in
all agree.
general in
No, yeah, I'm not
relationships
going
now.
back to that example.
Yeah,
Obviously,
that
I don't
example is
think.
old.
I think that's
Let's
a
do it.
I think that's an inappropriate way to handle conflict because you are feeling like he's choosing another woman, and I think somebody said like I think Evolutionary Playboy was like, look, if I'm dating, I don't even owe you an explanation. Like, I can date
Facts.
whoever I want to date. And so the fact that she feels like he got to tell her that he dating somebody else and that he's feeling somebody else is a red flag or a problem anyway. But the
Yeah,
way
he
she
paid her.
decided to resolve the conflict, like, let me mute. I think it's, yeah, I'm
We,
mute. Yeah, I think the way that she decided to resolve the conflict was like a complete issue. Mr. O, I'm sorry, I had to mute you because I think your echo is come. It came back. I'm not
yeah,
sure what happened.
you
You
still
sound
there?
like, yeah. It's gone now. It's gone. It's
Yeah,
gone now.
I always talk about learning how to communicate with the opposite sex because certain things, if you say certain things a certain way, because the way I see it, we're not communicating because the message doesn't translate,
Okay.
and so we definitely need to understand how both people see life. If I want to communicate something to a woman, I definitely got to understand how she sees life in order to communicate a message. And it's both. It's important for both of us to do that. We both need to know how the other person thinks, because men and women just see life differently.
Yeah.
Um, like I saw this example once that this guy said, try walking into a room for 5 minutes, the man and the woman, and they'll see two different things based on their skill level. If you're an interior decorator and your man's a electrician, you're gonna see two different things in that room. And although y'all saw the same room, you just saw two different things. And you got to understand how that other person's mind's working if you want to communicate with them. You can't just have it your way.
Definitely. And I think we both, men and women, we don't take enough time to understand how each other think. And we get confused when the reaction is different. It's like, well, men and women, we have totally different ways of thinking and processing information. And it's actually what complements and brings us together. That brings me to like the next point is that really when you're having conflict, go ahead, evolutionary playbook before I move
I
on.
was just going, yeah, I was just going to say this to kind of piggyback on Mr. O when he said, a lot of men grow up without the fathers in the home. I was one of those as well, and you do have to want to be better. And one of the things that I used to help me was whenever a situation presented itself, I would think about the most masculine man I knew. For me, it was Denzel Washington. And whatever the situation was, I would ask myself, what would he do in this situation? So it does come down to how bad you want to be better. And you got to do that work. So a lot of times, the way I wanted to do shit would have been all bad. But just putting myself in somebody else's shoes that I felt like handled things like an adult, that helped me change my mindset when it came to handling business and communicate. Because I'm sure y'all can probably tell I used to be hothead, just fuck you, bitch, get fuck. That's how I used.
No,
That's
I
how it
think
was, and
right. But I
yeah,
mean,
it just didn't work.
obviously, when you're younger, I think you're a little quicker to act to being upset or emotions than you are when you
Yeah.
get older. You know, when you get older, you're like, I can't deal with this. I'm just tired of it. But
Yeah.
I think that men mimic other men. And you know, that example that you brought up was a clear example of people see what Denzel's like on camera and they say, oh, this is what I want to be like, or I mimic this behavior. But do people really know how men really are? If you haven't seen a male presence in your home, if you haven't had that example, can you really learn from just looking at people like Kevin Samuels, for instance, or other popular culture men who have this presence? And, you know, is that a way to really learn how to be a man?
I think like it's a journey, like anything else. There's no format. My journey took me to like random conversations with random people all over the world, but I just embraced it. I had to first be real with myself though, and realize that I didn't know shit.
Yeah,
When you walking around think you know it all, you're not really you can't really receive anything.
yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen an example, you definitely need to study it, research it, connect yourself with people who have the example. And there's plenty of books and plenty of conversations about it. So
Yes,
now
there is.
it's really not an excuse. I can see back in whatever, whenever, when it was a new concept, but now it's so many things to tell you kind of behaviors of men, behaviors of women, how to partner, how what's worse, what's successful, and you can kind of find your own rhythm within all of those smaller conversations.
The best
You
way
can
that men can look up to something is basically look at the guy who has a lot and whoever he's with, what kind of people he surrounds himself with. And also, how does he carry a room? Also, what kind of lifestyle does he live? Is anyone telling him what to do? If someone's telling him what to do, he may be beta, especially if it comes from several different women. If he's okay, he's kind of a pushover, that's not someone you want to look up to. But if you got a guy out here that's saying, you can't tell me anything because I have these assets, do you know who I am? It's
Mhm.
like, sure enough, we can't tell him anything. A woman can't tell him anything because he can get another one, he can replace you. So I
Mhm.
looked up to men that like they just could not be messed with. You can't even argue with them because he's just gonna sit back and laugh and just replace you. So just
Okay,
look
but
at the guy who can run everything.
here's the thing though. Can everybody be an alpha? Like it's gonna be some betas in this world.
I,
Why
I,
y'all hate on
I
the betas?
hate
I don't
I
understand that.
hate
Betas.
that expression.
Me
I
too.
never use that
Please
expression,
have
beta and
explain it to us.
alpha.
Yes.
I don't. If I could imagine what it meant to be an alpha, I'd assume this is the type of person who never speaks on being an alpha. It doesn't
Right.
sound like something that an alpha male would care about doing. You don't walk into a room and announce yourself. Hey, I'm the big man on campus. That's not something that the big man on campus does. His actions speak for itself. So every time I hear this beta and alpha concept, it's mind numbing to me, and it doesn't it does nothing for me. So I
It
don't know if
doesn't
that makes me a
resonate with
beta or
some men.
something, but I don't. It don't do nothing for me, and I know I'm the ruler over all that I preside. So it's like
Yeah.
I don't get the ideology behind it.
You don't have to announce who you are. You just got like no one can tell you anything.
Me and you are similar. I think that is laughable that men need a
Yeah,
title in order to feel important. Like I'm a high
man.
value man. Like
Yeah, you don't
what
need
the
to tell
hell?
yourself. No, there's no
Is
labels.
that
Just like,
really
can anyone
important?
tell you anything? Like, nope.
Like
Okay.
I
My
have by definition, I have dated what men have called high value men my entire life, right? So I'm like, I have never met a man that's like, I'm a high value man, I'm an alpha man. Like I've never in my life until I got in these YouTube streets, and I know millionaires, like millionaires who I dated, who's like, I I don't know how, I just don't, I've never heard them talk like this.
That's just
So
marketing.
I
That's
think
all.
I
It's
think
just
that
marketing.
millennials are so educated that they come to this place where they think they can like analyze and label everybody, and they created these terms that really have like translated like toxic and alpha, beta, high value. This all these terms that are just being thrown around and labeling people. And it could be, look, we either the smartest people on the planet or we're ruining the planet. I don't know yet. I guess we gotta wait until time tells us. Like, are these labels, are they really helping us be progressive? Is being called a high value man really going to, I guess, take you to wherever you want to go in life? Or if other men identify you as that, is that really a marker of status or success?
So, something that me and my big brother talk about on a regular basis is iron sharpens iron, and we sit and talk about um progressive ideas and thoughts all day. What will better us? How can we move forward? What are we doing wrong? What, in his opinion, what can I do better? In my opinion, what can he do better? And at the end of the day, this journey, as Mr. O said, it it it's about discovery and being objective in what it is that you want to see happen. What is your desired outcome? And are your actions contributing to that desired outcome, or are they a hindrance? And these are the important things that is missing in the male environment. Men aren't congregating the way that they used to. And this is something that needs to happen more in our community. Those barbershop talks are real important. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You, as a man, that's everything. That guy that's in the barbershop who don't know how to speak up when it's his turn and he keeps getting passed up on,
He
like,
has a
that's
voice in
important.
YouTube. He got a voice in the YouTube street.
And you
No,
know what I'm
you know
saying?
what I'm saying? Look,
But he in
in
the
the YouTube
barbershop
streets,
and
you
they
get a
done
voice.
passed him like 4 times. Oh no, I'm gonna get you next. No, man, I told you I got you next, bro. Just chill. And he, like that, these things are important and they are missed.
Right, right, right. I think that YouTube has created a space where you can have conversations with men across the globe and across, like, and that is the power of it, right? For men, I mean, and women obviously too, but there's the power for men to be like, have access to all these men that they probably otherwise would not have access to. If you just go to the barbershop, you only dealing with the people in your community or your environment. But if you come in YouTube, you can tune in and you can hear Evolutionary Playboy, right? You may live in Minnesota, but you can hear what he has to say in his experience. And where you at? San Diego? I forgot where you was at. San
What?
Francisco. Where you say you was at?
I'm in the
Oakland,
Bay.
the
I'm in the
Bay.
Bay Area,
The
Oakland.
Bay Area, right?
Yeah.
And you can hear that. You can hear Mr. O. You can hear Mr. Rucker. Like, you can hear all these men from different environments, and you can kind of be like, man, okay, like, this is how men think in different areas, right? So I can get this influence. And that's the power of it. But it's also bad people on YouTube who are promoting. So you gotta, to me, the source matters, right? Who you're hearing the information from, their experience, and things like that as well. Because sometimes people follow people who've had a bad experience with relationships and women, and maybe they're trying to deter you because they've had negative experience. So if you're trying to partner, I don't know if you should follow a man who hasn't been successful in maintaining
Partner.
relationships with women. That's all I'm saying.
Partner.
If
Wow.
you're trying to, okay, I know, Mr. Rucker, you have a problem with that because you
Yeah.
are the head and you are in control.
It's a
But
takeover.
you are taking over. I get it. And every woman who dates a man like Mr. Rucker, you need to know that he is in control. And
Right on the first date. Like, yes, this is how it's going to be. That's it. This partnership is like, well, if you like that stuff and you part of some sort of community, fine. But around here, nah, it was traditional.
I want to know how to do my little thing like he got his up there
who,
on the
who?
At
top.
the top.
I don't know nothing
Oh,
about
how do you
computers
do
like that,
that?
but it
Oh,
looked
you have
cool.
to
I
put
want to know how to do that. I don't.
you have to put the StreamYard. What is that at the top, Mr. Rucker? Tell
How do you do that
everybody.
to your screen like that? I don't.
Oh, this is just a green screen. I just
That's
changed the
cool,
background.
man.
It's going to
That's
change
cool.
every time I'm on this show. So it's going to be weird. It's going to be
That
different.
look
So
cool,
Nice.
man.
Nice.
Thank you.
We need
I
a
knew how
we
to do
need
stuff.
green screen.
I need somebody to click my buttons for me.
Well, except Evolutionary Playboy. And and Health gonna get my channel shut down with that ass in the back. I
I
swear to
keep
you.
telling you, stop talking about my
That's the
collage of
ass
colors.
in the
That's
back.
not no
Ass,
booty.
ass, ass,
That
That's a
is
ass,
a
ass,
collage
ass.
booty.
of colors.
That is a
It's
booty.
abstract, and whatever your mind thinks of is what you see.
YouTube's gonna
Ass,
be
The
like,
fact
ass,
that your
ass.
mind is in the gutter,
it's
you
in the
think it's two
gutter.
booty cheeks. I happen to see two peaches.
Let me tell you
I
something.
see ass.
I
YouTube,
see ass.
YouTube gonna shut me down and say I'm promoting porn on my show. This is not
Oh, we like
disclaimer.
that other network. No, we're not trying to do that.
Listen. This is just disclaimer. That is in the background. Mr. Hess himself said it's two peaches. So get
And
your mind out the gutter,
you know,
okay?
it's a ginger root.
Ass.
So you know what? In relationships, I've learned that you shouldn't in conflicts, you shouldn't use words like never or always. Like those are trigger words because people always do that. As soon as you start arguing, like you don't ever do this and you never have done that and you always do this. And so I think those are trigger words. Is that a fair thing to say? If you use those trigger words,
No.
that's probably gonna start some conflict.
My trigger word is so, but I like to throw that out like so.
So,
Oh, like so
oh,
what you gonna do? So
so you dismissive. That's what you're saying. You
I am.
dismissive.
That has been one of my problems in relationships. They're
Yeah.
just very dismissive. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say something similar. I don't address things in disagreements that aren't true. Like if somebody say that's why you fucking your homeboy, and yet like I don't say nothing back. I don't give it no energy. I think you trying to piss me off by saying that. I'm gonna just walk
Right,
away from that.
right,
But
right.
if always and this and you don't never admit you're just trying to piss me off. I'm not gonna address things that ain't true.
Mark Martin wants to know how he supports the channel, Wana.
Oh, thank you. I do have a cash app. I will put it at the bottom. It's $ Wana 12. That is my cash app. Thank you, Martin. He is my supporter. I appreciate him. Yes, so it's Wana 12. You can support my channel until I get monetized and y'all can start doing some super chats. You can also share my episodes and tell
Yes.
your people to follow me, and then I can get monetized quicker, and then y'all can start giving me super chats.
Like and
That's the best way.
subscribe, baby.
Like and
Like,
subscribe.
like and
And
subscribe.
after the video is over, I would love for you guys to comment on it and give me your overall perspective on this conversation about ready to love and just how to avoid conflicts in relationships in general. Um, I think I learned early on that discernment or picking your battles is a huge thing in relationships. But I also read that avoiding confrontation can be detrimental to the relationship, meaning that, like, if you continue to try to just like pick and choose which battles they don't go away, you just really internalize them. And so then when you do pick the next battle, it's like some lingering feelings from that battle still into it. So how do you guys feel about that whole discernment and picking battles and how to, like, is conflict necessary in most relationships?
I mean, it's going to happen. It's no one thinks the exact same at all times of the day, but that discipline that you have as a person and as an individual will allow you to conduct yourself in a manner that's going to keep your partner engaged and happy to be around you and deal with you. Um, I actually thought about what would make a successful relationship for a long time, and I mulled over different ideas for so long, and I wanted to make it as basic as possible. So I came up with 3 words. Well, not came up with 3 words, but came across 3 words that I felt like would cover all areas of the relationship to make it successful, and that's understanding, compassion, and decency. If a relationship has those 3 things, I feel like y'all can overcome anything and y'all will be able to keep the peace in your home. Y'all will be able to be happy with each other and um, just overall be successful in y'all endeavor.
That's great. I think I think those are key. What do y'all think as far as picking your battles and basically like learning how to avoid certain conflicts? Is that even a good way to deal with conflict?
You got to pick your battles when it comes to like big things. You got to look at your situation, be like, okay, is this even worth the energy? Especially if you just got off of work, because at that time I'm real tired, and most people, most of my problems, like, hey, I just submit, like, whatever, yeah, do it, unless it costs a lot of money. But when it comes to certain things that jeopardize who you are, like, no, this is going to be worth it. This is worth the battle. And at the end of the day, since I'm controlling everything, I know the outcome is going to be probably in my favor. So I have to pick and choose my battles when it comes down to how big it is and what time of the day it is. It
Right.
just comes down to, like, if I'm tired, you win. If I'm not tired, round one.
See,
Ding, ding, ding,
some
ding, ding.
sometimes what I learned from most men who are held high positions like kings and guys who really like ran communities, sometimes words aren't necessarily what the disagreement needs. Sometimes it needs an action. um it's not always a back and forth of words, and if
Yeah.
it's really not a argument or a conflict if I don't give it no energy to
Mm,
help it blow up. Like if I have a girl texting my phone crazy with things that are nuts, if I don't respond back to the messages, eventually she just stop. If she's nagging me about something that is doesn't really don't have any significance of what's going on right now, what I'm focused on, probably not even going to say nothing back, look your way. I'm just keep doing what I'm doing, and eventually she'll stop that too. But it's when it matters because it's affecting your image and your livelihood, then you address it. But you don't have to address it with rage.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You gotta calmly, mentally respond to life. This is what men have been better at doing through life than women. And I'm not saying that this emotion is a bad thing, because it's the most important part to me when I need a woman in my life. One of those important things is that emotion, because it heals me.
Yeah.
So I don't want to mismanage her emotions by responding to it in a way that it won't get the a conducive outcome. Sometimes you gotta you always need to mentally respond to life as a man,
Mhm.
mentally, and it don't always need rage and a bunch of words and condescending tones.
I
Right.
think
Go ahead.
the way we were set up as humans, the man was supposed to be strength, and the woman was supposed to be intelligence, and those two things were supposed to come together for the greater good.
That's right.
I'm ruling with this strength that I have, and my companion is in the background with the intelligence to keep my ego in check. And that's those super long empires that you've seen for 300 years and thousands of years. That was the partnership and the teams that ran those and led those, not just some egomaniac who just wanted to have his way out all day and throwing temper tantrums. That's when you seen the kingdom get overthrown, when that ruler came into effect.
Mm. I agree. I agree with a lot of what the men said. And I know we've been on for 2.5 hours, and I want to wrap this up. I wanted to use Ready to Love to have a larger conversation about, just how we in general should handle conflict and what was inappropriate ways to handle conflict. And in my opinion, Phil and Shiloh were just not in the right space, a bar to have an intimate conversation about the direction of their relationship. And I think it's important to choose the environment and really choose the environment in which you're using to have that conversation. Especially if it's a conversation that's important to you, you need to really choose the right environment. And when you talk about Zadia and Dante and her escalating it to the point where she's pointing in his face and she's standing over him, yelling at him aggressively, pretty talking to him pretty derogatory. I think that, those are two clear examples of not ways you should handle conflict. You do not yell over each other, and we both really just want to be heard in those situations. So you need to make sure that you're hearing the other person. And the way I do that is that I repeat what I think the person is saying back to me. So I'll always be like, okay, are you saying this? And then sometimes, like, my man, he'll correct me and be like, no, I didn't say that, right? Because I'm hearing whatever I want to hear. Or even if he's repeating something back to me, I'll be like, I didn't say that either. So then now we both heard each other incorrectly. So it's important to make sure that you even hear the person correctly so that you all are on the same page, and you make sure that you use their positive energy to resolve conflict, right? Ask these neutral questions. But I honestly think that being truthful is one way to resolve conflict. Because if you know the truth up front, there should be no reason. And if there is conflict, you can walk away because you already know that you told this person the truth. And so there should be no reason why we have conflict because you know what it is. Um, I think you should talk about your feelings, but I don't think you should blame each other or you should poke blame. You should need to share your perspective. And I think you don't say definitive statements like never and always and try to blame the other person. Those things always lead to conflict. Pick your battles. Really listen to your partner. Listen. Don't just talk.
Sometimes
Listen.
you just got to interrupt with head.
Yeah, well, men, you can distract him if that's what Hef said. You can distract him. If
Sometimes
you
you
don't
just,
feel like
you
if
know
you
what
don't
I'm
feel
saying?
like having the conversation, that's a good way to distract them because they get real
Man, look, just
distracted
just
real easy.
interrupt with head sometimes. She fuming, you see the
Yes.
steam coming from her
That's right.
bonnet. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You just
Yeah.
and see if she keep yelling. See if she
Listen,
keep
and
yelling.
listen, and I think women don't automatically object to what the man is saying because I think sometimes what happens is we can shut down and we can automatically object to our partner's complaints, and we're like, we don't want to hear that we got 30, that we gained 10 pounds and he's not attracted to us, or we don't want to hear certain things, but sometimes that's you need to hear that and you need to know where the relationship stands and you can do with the truth whatever you need to do with it. um, and make sure that you can always think about it from a different perspective. Sometimes when you can't think about it from a different perspective, that should be a clear sign that you're not ready to address the conflict. You need some more emotional intelligence. um, and also, it's your demeanor and how you behave. If you crossing your eyes, rolling your eyes, not listening, acting like you're not hearing what he's saying or what the other person is saying, it's always gonna be conflict. So I think we both need to be calm. We need to be respectful. I don't think we should insult people. I don't think we should cross those lines. I think you need to stay focused on the dispute. I always like to quote this quote that I heard: the problem is the problem. So I'm not the problem. Don't start talking about your lips big anyway. You got a big old nose. Like, that's not the problem because me and you in a relationship. So why are you pointing out imperfections in my facial features, my
Well,
physical
if you
features?
sucking out the oxygen out the room, I can't breathe. I'm getting frustrated.
Yeah, then it's like, and so y'all hear that because Hef just exposed men because men will do a low blow when they ain't got no other argument, right? So here it is. Now I'm gonna talk about other stuff that ain't got nothing to do. They're gonna try to throw you off. Stay focused on the goal, ladies. I'm talking to my ladies, obviously. But I'm also this can be helpful for men as well. And these are my final thoughts. I'm gonna obviously let the men give some final thoughts on what they think about just ready to love and how to resolve conflicts. And you guys think about how what you want to say and how you want to end the show. But these are my tidbits, right? Do this, and I believe you can avoid conflict. I do think that you need to do a self assessment. You need to do a self assessment. Everybody. I think people are not self aware and they don't know what issues they struggle with and what issues they have. And I think they come into it thinking that they're strong and everything and I am great in this and that. No, you need to do a self assessment. And relationships need to have an objective party that they meet with consistently. I'm not saying it needs to be monthly or whatever, but it needs to be somebody that's like,
Somebody that's not a yes man or a
that's not
yes
that's
woman.
really gonna just help y'all get to the next level. We have couples that we meet with, we have all these different resources. we have people we know 50 that been married 50 years. Some people have been married 10 years. We have all these resources that we can reach out to. I think you need resources that can help you get to the next place in your relationship. And obviously, at some point you got to make hard decisions, but at least these are things you can do to help with the relationship. So, wrapping up the conversation about Ready to Love. Ready to Love has some interesting topics and points. I really wanted to talk about this because there was clear examples of why conflict resolution happens in relationships and how you see these disagreements materialize in this reality TV space that people don't really like give enough respect to. I'm gonna give my respect to reality TV, okay? But people don't get a respect to it. It's fine. But yeah, I will let everybody speak. Whoever wants to go first and kind of give your final thoughts about everything that happened today.
No, I don't know if I should. My mic ain't right with God today. So,
Go ahead. I hear you good now.
all right. Reality TV, just like the new God Enlightened and Younger Restless, it entertain you, give y'all something to do, but it ain't really reality. But it does create a lot of talking points for us. And so this is it's helpful in that way. It brings up conversations that need to be had because a lot of this stuff wasn't really exposed until now. This internet then did a whole lot, and I think it's ultimately gonna fuck us all if we don't get a hold of it because there's so much exposed, so much out here, and it's just a lot going on. But subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna do a shameless plug here.
Oh
Mr. O is
no, it's
just
not
living.
shameless. You
And,
definitely should promote your channel.
And this is Hef.
Yes,
he's trying.
I love
We
their
messed it
show.
up. We messed it up.
Their show is great. It really does give us like a different spin on society and expectations and what
I mean, it's just a player's
relationship.
perspective.
Yeah, y'all have a different. That's for sure. They will have you in a fantasy land when you in their channel. You're like, ooh, I remember. So go ahead, Mr. O. It's
Thank
not
you
a
for the
shameless
plug.
plug.
I appreciate you. Check out Player Perspective and go like, subscribe, and drop some comments in there. I'm gonna read them all right now while I'm small until I get big. But yeah, come on and participate. Get my engagement up, please. And I appreciate you, Warner, for everything that you do and your support.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you, Mr.
Oh,
O.
bonnet wearing
Playboy,
man.
Yeah.
Mr. Rucker. This is a great show.
I'm, I'm gonna put my bonnet on. I'm gonna put my bonnet on for the next show, and
Oh,
I'm
don't
gonna
do
invite
that,
you, F.
Tawana.
And it's
Don't.
black and it's not cute like Jen's was. You know how
Ah,
Jen had a
Then
real
had the
cute.
little
Right, right.
She
colorful
had a
ones.
And
little
she
cute
Yeah.
had
pink
she
one.
had the poof
I
all
don't have
perfect.
no. Yeah, I don't have no.
I got a
No.
shower cap upstairs that look just like, I'm sure they shower caps. It's my shower cap is black.
Tawana capping, she still her man do rag. She ain't gonna lie to me.
do rags
She
are
still her
funny.
man do rag and tied on the side.
And
Yeah.
that's it. Listen, and I don't have no complaints. I don't have no complaints, ladies.
Okay.
Okay, you just gotta know what you need to do.
You
That's
Wanda
can
all.
hit her
do
with
that
that
though. Don't
salt and
tell
pepper
women that
shaker.
because that's not fair. They're not gonna get the same outcome you get when you
Right.
do it. Don't
Yeah.
tell them that.
Okay. That's what I
You
said.
setting
That's
them
what I
up for
said.
failure.
Yes.
Yeah, so funny. All right, let me hear what Mr. Even I don't know, Evolutionary Playboy have
I
whoever.
I can
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
I'll say communication is very important. One of the things I do is I call it the preventative. I don't even know what I just preventative shit. So I try to do things to prevent problems. If I know my partner, and that's what people should do too, study your partner. You should know them so well you can go to get any restaurant and order food for them. You should be able to pick clothes out. You should study your partner. If you study them, you know what they like, you know what they don't like. If you know that, you know how to prevent bullshit. So that's one thing I would say. Just try to prevent as much as possible and just have an open ear, not just an open mouth. Because very short today, talking to my chick, and the last couple of days, I kind of been on her ass because I'm like, I'm hella OCD and we trying to get shit done. And I was using the bathroom. I was like, hey, come here. And I asked her, what do you need from me? What do I need to do to help you? She sat there and she was like, Nothing. She's like, it's kind of all me. I almost jumped out the goddamn window when she said that. It's all me. And I'm just like, oh, really?
Well,
Oh, okay.
at least she's
And she,
self-aware and
yeah,
she's done
yeah,
a self-assessment. That's great.
yeah. And she was just like, the last couple of days, she was like, I've been kind of like realizing that my ego, it's like I want to let it go and part wants to stay. And I'm just like, you know what? You doing your damn thing, man. So it's just like sometimes you just got to be quiet and let them think about all the shit you already told them. You know what I mean? But just pay attention to your partner. Make sure you're doing your part, because if you're not, they're gonna get on your ass when you try to check them.
Mute.
I'm sorry. I was just letting the next person go. If it could be helpful, Mr. Rucker, whoever want to do their final thought.
You can go, Mr. Hev.
Okay. Men, take a look in the mirror. You are the hammer, you are the strength. When you are dealing with these women, keep in mind that you are power. You already exude dominance. There is no need for you to bring a gun to a knife fight. Okay? Keep that in mind. Ladies, you have a lot of power in the relationship yourself. You are beautiful. You are soft. Men love you. You have the ability to disarm them. Use these tactics when things get heated. Don't be trying to take it up another notch and burn the house down. You don't need to compete with a man on a manly level. Bring your tools to the situation, to the arrangement, and capitalize on what you are great at.
Damn.
Hey, I agree. Thank you, Mr. Rucker. What do you say?
Well, I'm gonna break it up in this kind of way. First, the Ready to Love cast and other shows like that, I tend to watch too. But I watch it because I see them all as freak shows. 600-pound life and all that. It is funny to watch them getting out of cars. I know it's mean, but it's funny. In the Ready to Love, you can kind of see a bad relationship coming like a mile away just by the mannerisms, the corny jokes. And it's funny. And they cut it right at the commercial break, and it's just so funny to watch. Like they ain't gonna make it, they ain't gonna make it, and boom, they don't make it. Learn from these shows of what not to do.
Yeah.
There's a lot more negative than positive in these shows. Learn like, hey, it's pretty bad in a dating situation. Don't do these things. If you see women doing the finger in the face, I would ignore it, walk away. I wouldn't try to engage in it because it's a bad look for you. So just learn from these shows of what not to do and what kind of women are on those shows so you can avoid it, like the vid, just avoid them. Now, as far as the shameless plugs, of course, what you see in my background is my IG at Kenneth L. Rucker. If you go on YouTube and type in Lamar Racing, they'll find you the my other channel, Mr. Rucker. I'm gonna take on Applebee's. There's nothing wrong with Applebee's on the first date. And I'm taking on Derek Jackson because he pissed me off this week, and you'll see my reaction to it. He's still talking, even though he cheated on his wife. So you're gonna see my reaction videos to that this week. Stay tuned.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Oh, Mr. O. Mr. O got the. Okay, I got it. Okay, listen. Mr. Rucker, have Mr. O, Evolutionary Playboy. You guys know how I feel about y'all. Thank you so much for supporting me. You always support me. I also want to mention AJ. AJ is in the comments, but don't be twisted. AJ have my fucking back. Okay, I was on AJ's show years ago or last year, and I support AJ. AJ supports me. Like he is responsible for a lot of the things that I put out and my content and everything. He is so great at helping me and behind the scenes. And I know he likes to be humble. I'm sorry, AJ, that I bust you out. But you helped me a lot. So I gotta I gotta give you your accolades. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody. But please, please, please look forward to me taking popular culture and connecting it to real life situations. And that's what I do. This is what I do. That's what Wanna Chica does. And she does it well. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. Hey, get it, half. And that's what I do well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna always take something in popular culture. I'm gonna connect it to real life. And so Ready to Love was one of those things that I really wanted to talk about. Hey, but part two is coming because we didn't even get into all the questions I wanted to get into.
Right.
So part two to this is coming. And then it's also about to be a finale. So I know I'm gonna have some stuff to talk about from the finale. I'm gonna bring y'all back. So y'all need to watch it because I really want y'all to be like participating. I know a lot of people
Where
watch
do I
it.
find it? Tell us where to find the show, because I don't know.
So, YouTube have the full episodes if you just put in Ready to Love season 5. Okay, so I'm watching season 5 right now. And if you want to watch season 5, please binge it because the episodes are real short. They don't really, you can get through it like in a couple days or a weekend or whatever. But I'm gonna come back next Sunday and I'm gonna take over and we're gonna talk about this whole situation. I want to talk about whatever comes up, but then we didn't even get into some of the other stuff that happened. Camille and her overpowering personality and all these
Get
other
rid of
things.
her.
Ooh, we got some other stuff that we really just need to get into. So part
Get
2
rid of
will be
her.
here in the Sunday takeover. I will be definitely like connecting that. And again, thank you guys so much. Y'all was like insightful. I hope if women was listening, they learned some stuff. Like y'all should be able to find y'all a man after this episode. I'm just saying. Like,
Hey,
Yes.
and one more thing, one more
yes,
quick
okay,
thing.
evolutionary. Go.
This week I'm dropping 4 new Playboy tales on the
Ooh,
channel.
Playboy tells.
Yeah, 4 of them. So it should be
Okay.
pretty interesting. So
Did you
please
give people
subscribe.
your Did you give people your
I
YouTube?
didn't. I forgot.
Go ahead,
My
give them.
YouTube is the Evolutionary Playboy.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And the names show for everybody, so hopefully y'all can see Hef, y'all can see Evolutionary Playboy, Mr. O. Please follow them, Mr. Rucker, like IG. We're gonna work on Mr. Rucker, his YouTube. You got a YouTube? Oh, what's your YouTube, Mr. Rucker? I
I
can't
got
see
a
it.
few. I got Mr. Rucker, and I also got Lamar Racing. If you go to Lamar Racing, you'll find the other channels.
How you spell the last racing? Like
Yeah,
racing?
yeah, like
Okay.
RACING.
Okay. Like Lamar Racing, y'all follow him because he got those videos. He be dropping knowledge on everybody.
And
But
prenups.
Let's get it.
you know what, Gems and Jewels, I love you guys. Y'all are my qualifiers. I feel like y'all qualify all the men on my panel. That's why they keep coming back because they have been qualified at one point or another. So y'all got the qualifications to continue to come back on Gems and Jewels. Okay, so I'll
Got
see
it
y'all
here on
later.
Gems and Jewels, baby.
I
Yes.
love you guys. Thank you so much. You guys have a nice day. Love you. See you next time.
Next
Bye, Gems
time.
and
Out
Jewels.
of
Next time.
here.
Prenup.